We are going to not necessarily roleplay the entirety of this interrogation. We have already done some pretty severe torture. Some phalanges are missing and carterized at this point. Probably a little bit more than some. What I'm wanting to know is, well, first let's go to a review. You guys captured the bitch and took him to the safe house. That's your review, effectively. Other shit happened, but it's not important to what's going on. So, Nibs did some pretty detestable shit to this dude. Fair. And rolled a nat 20 in intimidation. So what spells or what things are you guys attempting to do to try and coerce information out of him?
So I believe we can have a zone of truth and a detect thoughts on.
Yes,
Yeah.
if memory serves, we have, I know Nari has a detect thoughts.
I was gonna use detect thoughts.
And so does Nibs.
While questioning happens.
Yeah, and Warden has the ability to do the zone of truth.
Yeah. So Warden was zone of truth.
I'm going to non-magically shove a potion of healing up his ass and then kick him so that it shatters.
And then heals.
Oh my god.
So that the shards of glass are embedded in him.
Look, we already did all the brutal torture last session.
Oh my gosh.
So that way the shards of glass are embedded, but as they travel, he gets healed. And he's just got a whole bunch of shards of glass.
So depending
in
on
his
how you think the healing potions work, that might just push him back out as part of healing.
Yeah. Regardless.
It'll push them back out as they travel through his
So
entire body.
the question we needed to decide was, did we want to give enhanced ability to the person interrogating, bless, or bane?
Sorry, I believe you said it was a lot of saves on his end.
In general, it was going to be a lot of saves on his end.
We wanted Bane. We wanted Bane.
Okay. And then I will cast. Nibs will cast bane.
Bane. Alright, and Nari will hit him with that detect thoughts. So,
TH.
in this, I am going to start with saving throws on the zone of truth, and then the detect thoughts, and then the bane.
Can I bane him first?
You can hit the bane first, yeah.
Okay, that's a.
Well, you don't roll for bane. It's
well,
a saving throw.
if I
Right,
roll
if he
after.
fails the save, then it's the
Yeah.
reduced.
What is your DC?
18
18. So that is a failure on the bane.
minus
bane-
3. Oh, it's
Minus 3. Okay, yeah, and bane only lasts a minute, correct?
Yep. I can cast it. multiple
Okay.
times.
So the bane will, particularly in this case, be primarily used for getting that negative on the other two saving throws.
Yep.
Okay, and that is a failure for the zone of truth. And Nari, what is your saving throw? I know it's wisdom.
She's washing dishes. Let me look at it real quick.
Bam! Get out of the kitchen, bitch.
I'm here. Excuse me. All you tell the people at work is that you're trying to put me back in.
Yeah, but you're not good at it, so get out of it.
How would
I'm
you
gonna put you in
know?
the laundry room. You're better there.
I do enjoy laundry better than dishes, actually. Damn it, where'd it go?
Actually,
Actually.
Okay, detect thoughts is a wisdom DC 16.
16. Okay, that is a failure for that as well. So,
Beautiful.
what are your guys' particular questions? Like, where are you leading him? What do you want to know?
Where's Rachel? I've been waiting for that. I will take my answer.
Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Do you guys know what you were going to ask? Do we have our list?
I mean, put all the effort into trying to figure out how to torture him without figuring out the question we wanted answered. I know there was the like other area where these slave callers were going to case after this? I'm just trying to think of questions relevant to that.
Well,
we need to ask.
you don't know where it is.
Yeah. Where
That would
is,
probably be a
where
very
is
relevant
it? How
question
do we
to
get
ask.
there? What is
Probably
security?
be a good start.
Yeah, security systems. Are there any safeguards if he's not there? If he's not reported in, what will happen when people find out he's gone? What are
Okay, we'll start with 3 questions, and we'll say those 3 questions will be
Yeah.
answered in that minute, and then we'll re-roll some saves against something like a Detect Thoughts or a Bane again.
Who is the Muffin Man?
So, what are your guys' first 3 questions?
Where is the place that I believe this is where the safe colors were being built?
Pretty much where there's kind of a mainframe that
the server?
think the server, the internet. It is what is keeping them all active.
Where's the mainframe?
Where's the main?
So where's the mainframe? Okay, and then 2 other questions.
What notable defenses are on the mainframe? And how do we shut it down? 3 good questions. Huh?
Yep, those first 3.
Okay, so out here on the map, as you can see, there is a die. So there is this one right here. So this tower right here, it is unnamed on the map, but Pekar reveals to you that it is known as Compound Peak 0.
Is this what he's like is saying this, or like we're just getting the thoughts and those are being relayed? Like,
It is a mixture of both. However, I am honestly too nasally fucked to be able to truly roleplay it right now, along with the fact that it would take a lot of time. So this is a mixture of both. This is the information you get, whether it be what he tells you or what comes in his mind.
okay.
So you would like to come.
Mongol
Sorry.
Those tied nostrils.
Just thought you would.
Guard the nose.
Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Derail this.
Okay. So, it is a large tower. In fact, you guys have seen it before on your first travel to Donturum that occurred on foot, or at least some of you first traveled to Donturum on foot. It did not look any different than any of the other forward operating towers around. However, Pekar says that there is immense illusory magic around it, to where, unless you're pretty dang close to it, it will look like any of the other towers. But it is in fact a fair bit larger, with a large walled-in area around it, which is a larger compound. And in terms of answering where is the mainframe, it is in the tower, close to the top. There are parts of it that are through the lower egg sections of it, but the actual more powerful, the mainframe itself is close to the top. In terms of shutting it down, he made the collar, not the mainframe. He doesn't know how to shut it down.
Dirty fucking liar.
He's in the zone of truth, and he did fail the saving throw.
I'm still gonna call him a dirty fucking liar.
In terms of notable defenses, there is quite a bit more to be said. It is fairly well garrisoned, with very tall walls guarded with magical protection similar to, if not more powerful than what his estate has. It's a shield that sits just outside of the walls, like a foot outside of the walls, and it dispels effectively any magical spells coming at it that aren't of extremely high levels. It also stops all teleportation magic and communication other than through a few sending stones. This system is centralized around the main gate. So there is an arcane lock, an enhanced arcane lock on the gate, along with a system in that same room that provides the power, the weave engine to supply the power for that defense system. That's where it is. So that's kind of like a 2 birds, 1 stone thing. in terms of other defenses, they are guarded with the walls themselves are guarded with a centralized magical protection that's right on the wall. It is what powers all of the siege engines that are on the walls, which are a fair few. It also powers the wall's defenses itself. The wall itself has aggressive acts that it can take against things nearby. Hey Claire, if you could, I'm gonna mute when you're talking to James.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. So storming the walls as a general rule of thumb would be very costly while that system is still up. It is near the center of the compound is a building that has the weave generator that powers that. But it has some pretty powerful protections around the system itself, which will require a very high level dispelling magic to shut it down. It's about 3/4 of a mile into the compound. The compound is a little under a mile by a mile, so it is almost a full 1 by 1 mile block that's taken out of it. So those are the 3 questions, like the primary protections. It has a large garrison, of course, and with him being captured in the morning, there will likely be an even larger garrison within a day or 2.
So that was the second question.
That was all 3 questions. That was where it is, what kind of defenses it has, how to shut it down. He doesn't know how to shut it down.
Bane again.
I mean, destroying it will likely do something, but
Roll Bane again.
yeah, sure. What's your DC again?
18.
And what's the save?
It is
Charisma? Yeah, he fails.
okay. It's only a -2 on this. I guess the next couple questions. Do you have any right off the bat, or are you still up for ideas?
I mean, we could ask him more about the collars, you know, if there's any fail-safer way to keep them.
Yeah. So, 3 more questions.
Yep.
We want to know specifically what he did in the collar creation and the methods used to do that, explained for Warden, so that we can understand what makes the collars more powerful than the others. Because we know how to breach them, but we can't breach the big ones. 2, is it possible specifically...
I cast Toll the Dead.
Okay.
Sit the fuck down.
Is it possible to make a device that can take them off without taking down the mainframe on an individual basis?
Okay.
And also, I guess the next one is, what other devices or inventions has he made similar to the collars that are noteworthy?
Okay. So the first 2 questions can kind of be answered in the same sentence. There is an immense amount of faulty collars that work only in its most minor functions, whether it be like a zap or something, that wouldn't be able to kill a squirrel. And due to that, say the ones that you have likely ran into that were easily deactivated were faulty. They were just not working as intended. If the device was not faulty and worked as intended, there is no way to deactivate it outside of either having the controller specifically connected to that collar or deactivating it from the mainframe itself.
So there's not a way to make a master controller device.
No. The master controller device is the mainframe itself. Yep.
Perhaps this is trying to like interrogate him about too like technical details, but I'm wondering if there's a way we could create a device that could like spoof magic signal, if that makes sense.
It's certainly possible, given the time frame you guys have. It is unlikely, because that would be weeks on weeks, if not months, of research and development.
And we don't get that.
and you guys have 7 days.
Okay, a little more specific on the question 1 and 2.
Okay.
What's the percentage of faulty ones to standard ones?
Probably somewhere around 30 to 35% are faulty,
Okay, so
which is why he was intending on going back and trying to fix some of the issues, because he had spent a couple months in Dwinder, more like doing field research, like actively researching the faulty ones, figuring out the issues are. He found some of the primary defaults in them and was intending on going back to a location where his whole team was to actively try and fix the most common of the issues.
and is that location where this is?
Yes,
or
that would be Compound Peak Zero. What Compound Peak Zero was intended to be is it was the first forward operating base of the Dwendalian Empire before slaves got there. There is such a thing as like a radius that it can supply to in terms of that the airwave, the radio waves to actually make the colors work. And so they wanted to put it farther forward outside of Dwinder so that they could still expand a little bit before having to create new towers and mainframes.
Okay.
What was your third question again?
What other notable items has he created, and who were they for?
He has created a variety of different weapons, specifically for the Arkstone Guard. Both the advanced spellbooks and arc throwers of the Arcane Guard were both designed by him or people adjacent to him with his help. In terms of things that can control creatures, I mean, the first collar he made was for animals, and that is a more mass-produced thing that is actually slowly spreading through Volusia right now. Because it is a way to lessen the amount of people you need on like a ranch or a mega ranch with thousands of cattle and such. Because you don't have to have people out there constantly watching them, because if they step out of line, you just press a button on them for their collar. He was eventually approached to try and make that usable on humanoids, and that's how he got to where he is now.
Really rocks.
Other set of questions for folks?
Is there one in the Hidden Valley?
Is there one what?
Is there one in the Hidden Valley?
One what?
A ranch.
Alright. I'm not rolling for that.
So, yes. Two things I'm thinking of. One is the only, like, there's no other, like, hidden backdoor into, Compound Peak Zero, I'm assuming. No, like, teleportation circle in that only he knows about.
Okay, so that's question number 1 of 3 for this next round. Do you have 2 other questions?
Shouldn't we also,
Then,
shouldn't we also ask, like, if he knows somebody who, like, who would know how to shut it down? Because he didn't really know how the mainframe worked, right? So,
Who would know?
Who would know how to
who
shut
would
it down?
know? Yeah.
then,
Or
what-
what people would, how
How
many people
who
they are, yeah. that-
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the people who created it,
I know another comment I was going to make is I'm wondering if, granted this might not necessarily be a question for him so much for his years at DM, Zach. I'm wondering if there's a way we could, like, somehow create faulty callers or, like, fake callers of our own if we need to, like, sneak our way in there somehow.
I mean, you could always put on faulty or collars that are deactivated already. Upon close inspection, it would be obvious that they are not the same.
we could put them on if we had the controls.
Say
Is that allowed?
Like, do you tell us that? Or is
Or is
that
that
just
just
like a thought
that you're keeping yourself?
This was, at this point, more a question of me to, like, Zach as the DM, because, I don't have the most experience with, seeing these colors in action as a player, but I think as a character, I probably would, or at least would be more informed.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just curious.
So I've rolled a new set of saves. In terms of people who would know how to destroy it, he knows that the creator of the mainframe to expand the area that this thing's can access. Yes, Nate?
The casters of the spell know if he succeeds, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he's
And he has
failing
failed
five?
everything so far.
Okay.
He's rolling at disadvantage with a -3, -4. So he's having a tough time. Other people who would know. The 3 conciliators would likely know, which are the 3 people who kind of run the continent under the Gwendolian rule. That being Gendro Dwin, who's effectively the king, and Lord Hethafar Irio, who last you guys knew was packing up and getting ready to leave the continent. And then the Count Junker Halrock, who is the head of the armed forces of the Gwendolian Empire here in this place. He says it's also possible that the head of the Arkstone Guard, who Nibs would know quite well. I'll have to pull his name back up real quick. Mariak Stoneson would probably also have some kind of hint, but may not know for sure. He knows that the group of people who originally kind of expanded this idea of a mainframe rather than just using the little hand controllers are all dead at this point. Okay, so that's one of the questions. What were the other 2 questions?
Secret ways into the compound, potentially.
Secret ways. Okay.
At least, back doors.
So
I make that
he reveals there is a back way in. It's kind of shitty, literally. There is a large metal tube that is the sewage drain for the compound as a whole that runs about half a mile outside of the compound to the nearest river. It has the same magical shieldings as the wall through that centralized system. However, there are a series of metal hatches that close and then open every 15 minutes to let the next round of fecal matter through. And so if one was patient enough, they could make their way up that half-mile tube in probably an hour or 2. However, it only opens in certain intervals. So to do it in a group, you could probably only get maybe 12 people in at a time. And then you would have to wait a couple hours. And then you could get another crew in. But with where you would be coming out, it would probably be difficult to not be noticed unless you immediately disperse into other locations. So effectively, you can get a crew in there, but probably only a dozen. Unless you wanted to really risk being caught in there with that first dozen.
Okay. Want a quick clarification. The people who know how to make the mainframe and extend it are down to 5 people.
Are probably down to a handful,
Yeah.
maybe. According to his knowledge, those
Yeah.
people have died, whether they were killed by the Gwendolian Empire or some other crew.
Okay.
He doesn't necessarily
So
know.
there are people with key knowledge. Now, the knowledge of making the enhanced collars, which are the working collars, is specific to him and his team that is stationed there. It is not widely spread knowledge at this time, or is it?
The design, the original design for
For
animals is widely spread at this point.
So they have a starting point, but the specifics to make it work with different races and
Yeah.
all of that is kind of confined. So if we can wipe them all out, this would die or definitely be set.
Yeah, there is a reason why the beast races specifically were so invested in this, or why the dwarves looked at the beast races so much is because it was easier to make the collars work on them. General humanoids, similarly, but the more magically entwined a creature is, the harder it was to make the collar work for them. Which is why plenty of shapeshifters and changelings were able to still shift their form while having the collars on, even though they weren't supposed to be able to.
Haha.
Just for one example.
Other questions?
Does this dress make my ass look fat?
Are you still in your horrible
That's Python reference. I mean, nothing more I can think of.
Who does he know that has access to the tower? And I guess that would be one side of it. And the other would also be, are there people that definitely that he knows that don't have clearance or could be trouble for one side, and then also like what are the procedures to be checked in and verifications? What is the security principle?
What is the security principles?
Like the systems of checks and things like that that he would have to go through.
Okay. So let me roll a couple more times. Okay, so in terms of people who he know would be able to get in there, same 4 names he listed before, with that being the Conciliators and the Arkstone. There's a series of other people who do minor maintenance on it, effectively cleaning the area, making sure nothing is there. And maybe a dozen people, 15 people go into the mainframe room consistently. He doesn't know the names of everyone. That's not his job. His job is to design the shit. And he's very, very much... Yes, Claire?
So sorry. Is
there
like
I don't know, like a registry of people who have access and what they do, or like people who pose as the plumbing maintenance people or whatever. If we were trying, I mean, I know we didn't want to arrest more than a group of 12, but we were trying to get more people in. I don't know.
that would
That would also give us a list of names to go off of at least.
If given weeks on months to do the investigations required to do that, it is possible. He does not know the kind of information you would need to do that. Like I said before, in terms of what he is involved in and what he has control over in Compound Peak Zero, is literally just the research and development. That is it. So if you're asking questions outside of those, he's probably not going to have answers for you.
But he has been checked in through the process.
He has been checked in through the process. Effectively, you don't enter unless they know you're coming in the first place. Period. End of story. There is no question on that. There is no, hey, we were a cart of food, said we're going to be in here. Oh, you aren't signed up, you're not coming in. Period. End of story.
In that case, how would we get a message over to them saying how we are coming?
In that case, sending a message to say you're coming.
Sweet Jesus,
It would-
I'm arriving!
One of the few-
Thank you for that.
You said there were specialized sending stones, so I assume it's one of those.
Yes, there are specialized spending stones. Pretty much how he appoints it is the fact that with his consequential kidnapping and likely death, there is no opportunity for you to peacefully enter or disguise your way in. You either go in through the back door or you do a full-out assault, because that location is going to go into a full-out lockdown with probably double the guards, double the garrison, and a lot of really important people are going to be there. He mentions that likely the Count Halrock is probably going to be there. You know, they're probably going to teleport a whole bunch of troops in, and he's going to lead the defense, expecting an assault or some kind of attack on there, knowing that it seems that the rebellion is trying to push very, very quickly for something. They don't necessarily know exactly why the timeline has been pushed so hard, but they know something's going to be happening soon. So they're trying to wait out that soon time period, is what he would guess from knowing these people, these conciliators. So in terms of disguising yourselves as a food cart and getting in the front door, you're probably just going to get incinerated.
We're not thinking that. We're asking, okay, so my old boss is on the list.
Yes.
If he showed up with a group of guards what would the procedure be for getting checked in? Is there passphrases or
Well,
things
I
like
believe what Zach was trying to say is that because we can't send information ahead and they're going to be on uber high alert, we can't do that.
So, if Mariak Stoneson walked up to the
Correct,
front
he'd
gate,
have to call ahead, but the thing is, we know there are simming stones. Did he have one back there, or does he go to someone when he wants to talk to someone?
he did have one.
It's left back up
It's
there.
left in his
We
estate.
didn't get it. Okay. That's what I wanted.
Back we go.
And it was inside his laboratory, is where he keeps it.
Unfortunate.
Knew it was worth getting
We
in
should
there.
have tried to. Yeah, we should have tried to break it.
Maybe. It was a very, very high risk, high reward. Unless you get there and get it done quickly.
Like, if I could like teleport between areas in the estate, which is could I have done that? Like, if I want to teleport
Inside
like,
the
outside
estate,
house?
but you couldn't have teleported inside the laboratory from outside.
Okay, because as long as that was the case, I think I had an engine door, so I think I might have been able to teleport directly to the door. So maybe I could have stayed there longer, but not much I can do that now.
Yeah. Okay, so that's answering some of those questions. Maybe I missed one. If so, I blame it on being sick. What are the questions we got?
So this isn't necessarily like questions to ask. This is more so me trying to brainstorm ways of maybe getting in.
Did we already ask about the magical defenses of the place?
Yes,
Yes.
basically same stuff that was on his place, but even harder.
But more powerful, but there are centralized locations that you can get into to disarm it.
Yeah. So my idea that I'm thinking of, we can send a strike team through the sewers, but they're expecting an attack. Why don't we give them what we? Well, because if I remember correctly, I believe there was some sort of underground slavery being trained.
There are two primary locations. Where Robin was at, which is the Faramar trading post, there's approximately 2,000 lightly trained freed slaves. There then is Skaragos Point, where both Warden and Nari were, and those are better trained. They've been around longer, they're better armed, and they would also probably be a part of any kind of assault.
So,
And they're just south of Karth, so all the allies in Karth would also be able to join that troop.
so here's what I'm thinking. They're expecting an assault. So if we give them that assault, you know, we have our slave army, obviously not actually full on directly attacking the place, because they'll just get massacred. You know, have them, I don't know, camp outside, maybe start trying to produce some sort of siege engine, or at least act like they're doing that, making some sort of preparations for a siege. Obviously, that would distract all the guards, and so if we snuck a team of people into the sewers, they might be able to get into the mainframe and shut that down.
Yes.
Has he already given us the basic equivalent of a rough map of the place?
I have not, no.
Okay.
You know that it is almost a mile by mile square.
Yeah.
That obviously
How
has.
high up does the magical defenses go?
They go up. That has not been detailed.
Okay.
Next round of rolls.
Likely fairly high. Yeah, you can go ahead and.
Yeah, so that's another question we should ask is the actual.
Another 3. Another Bane on 3.
I suppose another question we should ask is, what exactly is there in the base besides obviously the tower?
Okay. In terms of how high do they go, they pretty much form a dome, an oval dome, well above the tower itself, which is close to 250, 300 feet high at its tallest point. So, in terms of just flying over and coming back down in, that's not really an option.
Flying up and making a map.
Just make sure. Did he pass that Bane check or no?
He has failed every check he's rolled so far.
Okay, I'm just making sure because he didn't clarify that he did succeed or not.
Yeah. What was the other question?
What else was in that facility besides obviously the mainframe tower?
It is effectively a fully functioning military base. there is a large garrison, probably somewhere between 600 to 800 troops on your average day, and obviously that's going to increase post this interrogation due to paranoia. There is no families. There is no basic citizenry. Everything is run through and done by those troops that are in there. It is mostly through. There is a large portion of Obsidian Guard in there. There are some Arkstone Guard, but the primary inhabitants are like just straight up the Dwendalian army. And likely past this, Merrick Stoneson will take the rest of his Arkstone Guard there, considering they are not guards in city. They're out of city guards, so them being gone from the cities will not mean much, and they're also better trained than the Obsidian Guard. The exact number is not known by him of how many would probably be there, but you guys have fought some of the Arkstone Guard multiple times at this point, I'd say, throughout the time jumps. In terms of some other information that I may have missed or not told you on certain questions, with the Count Junkhair Halrock likely going to be there for any kind of defensive situation, he is known widely as a very, very good military leader, and so likely trying to take him off the board before a full-out assault is made, even with the weakened magical defenses of the walls, would likely be a good idea.
Okay, I guess the next question is there any other information that you are willing to give us that we haven't asked you about? If the answer is no, we'll quit wasting time. But if the answer is yes, we'll just keep guessing until we get there.
I'll ask him for a rough layout of the map of the facilities and all key locations that we would need to know of for, say,
So, the
the
north...
points where the points that are powering the magic defenses, yada yada.
So there is one point powering either of the two magical defenses. One at the main gate, one near the center of the compound. In the east side, that's where the main gate is. Since you guys would be coming from the east, the main gate is pointing towards the coast. It's very, very large. And quite heavy, and uses pretty much magical hydraulics to raise it. If the system guarding all of the gates and walls were to be destroyed, that magical hydraulic system would also be deactivated. So the gate, if you wanted to raise it, would have to be raised manually, which would be quite difficult and require an immense work of strength. There's always guards on the gate, but that's the main gate. Around that area, there are multiple barracks and large training ranges. There is, in the west section, kind of west and slightly north, is the tower itself. It's not boarded right up against the wall. It's in a little bit, but it's not in the dead center of the facility. It's actually off to the northwest. Near the center of the compound is a whole bunch of like general supply shops, where everyone can conglomerate. The barracks pretty much line the walls, as a general rule. And in the center, off to the side, like there is kind of like a no man's land that is training grounds and such. And then there are a few key specific buildings. One of which is that throws up the shield that arcs around the whole building, or around the whole compound.
What is the general makeup of the...
While you're thinking that,
Quick question about the shield. Does it only stop magical only stop magical effects, or would it stop, say, a giant rock being thrown?
it would stop a giant rock in most situations, but smaller, more precise things, like say arrows, some would get through some would.
What?
She said small rocks.
Small rocks. Some would get through, some would not.
Yes, let's throw rocks at the Talmarines.
I guess.
No, let's connect knots and
So-
throw them at the Talmarines.
The Talmarines.
So there was obviously the
Okay,
sewer
sorry,
system we
continue.
could get through. Where does that exit?
That exits, so it's coming from the north, so it would exit on the north side of the facility. And it exits into pretty much the trash compacting room, which is a fairly large building where all the trash, there's 1,000 people here in this mile-by-mile compound. A lot of trash cycles through this area. And it is pretty much all either compacted and sent down or taken away in a cart or sent down this tube with the shit. It's not incredibly well manned. There's probably 4 or 5 people in there, but they would by no means be the greatest warriors. It's literally the shit duty.
What is the general composition of all of the buildings?
By what do you mean?
What are they made of?
What are they made of? They are made of stone, steel, wood, concrete. It's a smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Isn't necessarily a question for him. How much explosives do you have access to?
You guys have access to? Some. Not extensive amounts.
Depends on what day. Depends on what day we see snow.
Metagaming, would you guys say the shield is higher than a 9th level spell?
In terms of metagame, probably not above, but he did say that pretty much anything under a very high level just doesn't go through the shield and doesn't affect it. So if I tried to cast a fireball at someone on the wall,
But
it's just
maybe
not going to get through.
We've got a lot of really powerful wizards and witches that might be willing to, I don't know, maybe do a dispel a 9th level dispel magic or something into a device of holding or something like that.
Yeah.
The generator that's caused that's
For the wall. and
for
the
the
shield.
the shield, like the shield and such, like it's a generator, so it's like even if you cast a spell, it would just
Well,
re-up itself.
This is a weave generator, so that dispel would dispel it for a period of time.
Yeah, it would, but it would go back up.
But when you
It would go back up eventually, but if you dispel it and then, because it's a weave generator, it's both magical and non-magical.
Stolen technology.
So if you dispel it and then beat the shit out of it, it's probably gonna take longer to come back up, if ever will it come back up. But the weave that protects it also runs the generator itself.
2 questions. Well, 2 might be better than first. 1, is the wall? Would you consider the wall magical?
The wall itself,
Yes, the physical stones.
the physical stones are non-magical.
Okay. Second question. Would you consider, like, how much of a section of a wall would you consider an object?
Maybe a 10 by 10 square, at max.
How thick are the walls?
Very. They're probably at least 10 feet thick. Because they have people patrolling them constantly. And they have siege engines on them, like ballista and catapults. So
yeah,
the towers are probably going to be like 30, 40 feet thick. The walls are at least 10 to 20.
So if we, that was
Well,
what
I was
that
gonna
was
say-
what I was thinking is if the distraction force attacks,
Probably shouldn't do that right.
get up to the wall, hit it with a dispel magic, and then we have someone pull a chunk of the wall out, 10 by 10 by 10. All you have to do
Yeah.
is push it through or pull it out, and you have a hole.
Well, because I was going to say, I have true polymorph, and it can work on non-magical objects.
So you could polymorph it into something else.
Yeah.
Polymorph the wall into a goldfish.
Polymorph the wall into a goldfish is crazy.
Or a T-Rex, and then have it go people. There's options, but we're getting a little off track on the plan. What do we need to ask him? What other
Non-sentient
Yeah,
questions?
you guys can get. You guys are going to be going back to Firemark Trading Post, so you guys can talk with Finch and Mark and some other people to figure out what
What
the
do we
plan
need
is.
to talk about?
What other
Is
questions
there
do you
anything
have?
else we need in this guy?
Do you guys think of anything else that we need to discuss with him?
I don't have anything.
How do I take his knowledge?
You don't.
If I cut off his head,
Not
Oh,
unless
that's
you
gonna
have
happen
some kind
either
of soul
way.
cage or something and ask him some questions at
Oh.
postpartum. One other thing to note that he would have mentioned earlier is about the Count Halrock, who would probably be good to assassinate before the full-on assault. He will likely be in a place called the Quarters of Radiance, which is near the base of the tower on the west side of the compound. That is where most of the high officers are sleeping. They get their own.
What's that guy's first name again?
Junkar.
Okay, one last question, logistically speaking. Is the bubble shield in the setup, because it's the same design as what he had at his place? It blocks teleportation. Does it block like banish or going to alternate? Like if you're in there, can you be banished out of one reality and come back to the other?
Does it affect the ethereal plane?
Yes. Does it affect the ethereal plane of existence?
If you went ethereal and went through it, there would likely be some issues.
It's like the Fate.
It's not like the Fate. The Fate is a very, very different situation. But in terms of going ethereal, it is still a high-level spell, and it would be difficult. That's not necessarily something he ever tried, but it's because generally conceived, going into the ethereal plane and walking through magical rifts in the other planes is often seen as quite dangerous.
Right. And we'd have to have something on the other side to be a key point or a waypoint for us to be able to find it. A touchstone or something.
Yeah, you would kind of have to know how far to go to get where you're going.
Okay. Anything else you guys can think of?
Jack just...
Sounds like we need a mouse to tool.
Oh. Mouse guy, mouse guy, mouse guy. Oh.
So, if we don't have any other questions, I think those of us who want to should take our time choking him to death and then bringing him back multiple times, and then the last one rips his throat.
I think he's been so excited about torturing this guy more than about getting pushed in.
So what you're saying is you just want me to hold Spare the Dying on him for the next hour while you
Oh,
guys
no,
butcher him.
No,
Y'all are on a clock.
We want to look him in the eye and choke the life out of him, and then bring him back and do it a couple more times. And each time name one of the names of the slaves that's heads exploded because of his damn collars.
How about y'all just kill him?
Well,
you can describe how you do it, but we...
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna kill him, but I'm just saying, I think we should do
I
something.
call last kill, and I'm gonna use my axe as a saw and slowly but surely cut through his head.
Yeah, if we got nothing else, we need to destroy
That's
it.
all I want.
And make
That's what
and
I'll
then
do.
we need to do something so he can't be brought back.
Yeah, you would have to take the body with you and or completely incinerate it, which is very much an option.
Nari.
Nari, do you want to burn this guy to ash?
Actually, I would like to, well, I mean, I can, but I would like to flay his nose and
Yeah.
some things first.
You can do some shit, but to make sure he cannot be resurrected, the body cannot be.
I will,
There has to be
Okay.
no body.
that's, yeah,
I
So
I will.
Before we do
Body.
that, we destroy everything but one finger. And the warden, you will carry that finger someplace where no one can have it. So if we have to bring him back to talk to him again, we'll do it.
Fuck.
I mean, technically, I don't even think a finger would be able to be done through resurrection. You need true resurrection regardless. Which is where you don't need a body at all.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you had
What
it.
about
No, you just have to know the name.
Sure as you don't need anything. You can bring a person back as long as you have a scrap of them though with your razor.
Do we have any way to capture
Yeah,
Maybe
that
with
soul
resurrection.
or
Hold
destroy
on, I'm
the
not gonna
soul?
resurrection.
I think resurrection's just simply
You
have
touch
piece-
a dead creature that has been dead for no more than a century, that didn't die of old age, and that isn't undead. If its soul is free and willing, the target returns to life with all of its hit points. Spell neutralizes poison, cures normal disease, blah 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 blah
Bobby?
blah. Closes all mortal wounds and restores any missing body parts.
Restores body. You touch a creature. I don't know if
I have this finger now.
I have a finger.
Regrow.
Would I consider a finger of the creature, or would you need a more
I
vital
will
part?
have you
of the
know
person?
that if I have to cast
We
this
could just put
spell
his
again-
eyeball in a little glass bottle.
That would probably work better than a finger. He grabs dick and twist it.
Well, you could just put all of his ashes in a jar and say, I have a jar of dirt.
Just the jar with the finger in the middle. Wait, there's a finger. Finger of death. Okay. Any last questions before we just say you kill him and then we begin? with-
One last question. How many spellcasters do they have on? Actually, this might be two questions. One, how many spellcasters do they have on staff?
Do they have on staff there on average? Members of the Archstone Guard, the Runalian Armed Forces, and the Obsidian Guard are all there. Probably at least 50. Only some of whom would be super, super high level. But that's for a general garrison. He cannot estimate what kind of extra people. You know, if the Count is there, the Count is fairly magically entwined. So he's going to be a fairly high level spellcaster. If Mariac Stoneson was there, Mariac Stoneson is known for his magical prowess.
Yeah. Second question. So the regular guards, I'm going to assume that they wouldn't have any sort of magical weapons.
Actually, almost all of the Archstone and Obsidian Guard would have at least like a +1 weapon of some form, if not more magically attuned. The Dwendalian Empire, they're the Nazis. They're quality over quantity.
As soon as their flies out,
Dang.
they're floating down. Blowing up the facilities that we need to blow up to bring down the ship.
And you're helping them with quality and quantity.
Some box to go through.
Effectively, that was the idea of pairing the Dwendalian Empire and the Khitanan Empire together. Is the Khitanan Empire has quantity, and the Dwendalian Empire has quality. And putting them both together, I mean, as a general armed force in Volusia, they would be very, very difficult to beat, even for the Avarian Confederacy. But here, with so few resources and so few of an army, truly, even though they have far more than you guys do, it would still be very difficult.
So basically, Russia and Germany joined together,
Yeah.
making actually a fighting force that didn't backstab each other.
What if we slowly fall
Okay.
into
Well then, I think that's it for questions, right?
I want to kill.
I think, well, I mean, we already
It's like,
just
what if
I feel
it's,
like
what if it's
doing
like
your
Doom,
weather-
where like you very slowly can pass
we already
through
did
it?
the thing, we already.
So I feel
Oh,
like
I was thinking
you
the
could probably
next
do
thing.
some more weather shenanigans.
Again, 8th level spells are so fun, and I'm wasted on the weather.
And also, it only covers a 1 by 1 mile square, correct?
5
Oh,
mile
it covers
radius.
5 mile radius? Okay, never mind then. Then yeah, you'd be able to cast it and encapsulate the whole of the compound along with the surrounding areas.
Wait, so if we were to fly in from the top, if we flew through it, it doesn't just like negate our flight, we just physically cannot pass through it at all?
You don't know. You'd have to.
Well, because he
find
tried to
out.
fly through.
Through a much, much lower level
Yeah.
defensive
I was also
field.
using magical flight, and I believe the way you're talking about is parachuting it.
Yeah, like well, if we parachuted in nice and slow, it's like Dune. Like you just can't move fast.
They don't have the Geneva Convention. They'll shoot us with the ballistas. Let's not
It'll
do
be
that.
foggy
It'll
again.
be dark.
We're all
also
just like
probable.
walking on the top of the dome, and they just start playing target practice with these massive ballista.
I ain't saying it's not gonna happen. Okay,
Anyway,
so we're going to end questioning unless someone comes up with something in 5.
We kill him badly.
Is he gay?
Is he gay? No.
Damn.
Do you pickle his cock?
No.
wait, that's the one finger we can keep on. We can keep intact.
Moving on.
Cut his dick off. I was taking twisted.
Alright.
I'm sure that occurred in his death at least once.
Damn, Nari. What?
Why you gotta go for Nari immediately?
Actually, hold on.
I was gonna say, you got
Wait,
the
sexually-
lusty Argonian maid over
Sexually
here.
ambiguous.
Nate got the reference. I don't know if anybody else did.
I know it's
Yeah, it's a Skyrim book.
Bring
Bring
out
out
the
the
Honka
Honka
Dunkaling.
Dunkaling.
Yeah, I just. Okay, So
Sounds more like Saints Row.
you kill him, incinerate the body, keep a finger, keep an eye, something like that.
Keep an eyeball in a little glass jar.
Okay. Well, it's mid-morning at this point. You are in the middle of the capital city of Dwinder.
Put it in your
You guys could head back to the guild hall of the Insect Recratum and try and get teleported back to the Faramar trading post, since none of you guys have the capability of doing that.
If he knows the magic circle.
I'm not with you.
He's not with you.
Fuck. Yep.
He's waiting at the Faramar trading post.
Yeah.
Question. Would my character know the... I'm going to assume teleportation circle is what you're talking about?
Yes.
Would my character know that?
Your character would likely know the teleportation circle. with the
Well, I do
Faramar
have
trading post.
teleportation circles as spells.
Well, if you have that spell,
Or we
yeah.
could just go ask our sugar daddy to warp us for us.
What's this guy's name again?
Sugar Daddy is.
Haykar Rindwall,
Yeah.
the dude you just interrogated, that guy, yeah. So, how are you guys getting back to the Faramar trading post? Teleportation circle. I didn't realize that you had that. I didn't know that you had taken that spell. Why did you just wink at me?
I don't know.
Hey yo!
Because
Why am I turning gay?
Actually,
Whoa!
big it's turning.
It's on the additional warlock spell list. I don't know what you want me to say.
Okay. So,
I scratch.
you don't have robot balls.
No, I'm physically scratched my balls.
Why did you need to let us know
No,
that?
that's gay.
Everybody, scratch his ball. Oh, wait.
No.
No.
Or
Grab his balls
Can you
and twist
imagine
them.
if like Warden just like subconsciously
Unconsciously
sorry,
scratched
subconsciously
his
just went like
taint.
this, like any other dude, just went,
Just scratched his
and there's
belly.
like nothing down there, nothing, just scratch.
Why would he
He's
run
just
around?
scratching his stainless steel
Plate.
piece.
Yeah.
Sorry, it is adamantine mithril dragon
Bone.
bone.
Yeah, that's the only way you
Nerd.
can get a vote.
That's Dark Star Steel.
Okay, that's what
God.
you want to call it? That's fine. Let's move.
No, that is the
That is-
the official
that's a-
designation of the new alloy he created.
I created a new alloy. It's funny how I have the Light Star Forge and the Dark Star Steel.
Yep.
2 stars.
What did I re-put them?
One.
That wasn't
There it
right.
is. Long hammer.
Pause. Alright, so you guys make your way back to the Insect Recratum, upon which none of the primary members are there, but you are led to the teleportation circle, where Robin is able to magic key teleport you all back to the Faramar trading post. Upon getting there, what do you guys want to do? There's no one there to lead you to the meeting room, as you guys are teleporting yourselves, and it is not known ahead of time that you are coming.
Warden's gonna tinker with the giant robot more because he didn't get much chance to.
Okay. Are you wanting to go provide a debriefing for Finch and Marquet?
Are they there?
You said no one was there.
I said no one's there at the teleportation circle. I didn't say no one's there at the facility as a whole.
Oh.
I was saying right in front of you when you teleported,
Yeah.
nobody's right there.
I'm definitely gonna go debrief my brother.
Okay.
Okay.
Since Warden has the can just
Who
like
would-
play the audiobook.
Who amongst the spy network of people we have in communication would have eyes on key figures
Have eyes on key figures?
or be monitoring their whereabouts and movements?
Lady Forlorn in Dwinder would likely know. There's probably a couple other operatives in Dwinder that are close enough to that area to where they might be able to do or have some form of information, but they have not yet reported today. They generally report end of day every couple days.
If there's a way to communicate with them, we need to know if the key figures have already left to go, it just disappeared in a hurry, or has the move started, or is this are they still heavily guarded but out in the open?
Okay. So once you get there, you can ask Finch to put out those notices, and he will, cast some sending spells to make sure that people know their duties, and hopefully we'll have something by this evening.
Okay, thanks.
So in this debriefing, you
Did
have.
you guys ask if the bubble's one way or no way?
That specifically, I don't know if we asked as many general questions as we could. I don't think we wanted.
In terms of the bubble, you would say it's probably just like the one at the estate.
So you can't teleport.
You can't teleport in or out without previous knowledge, so that they can drop a section of the shield.
Can they shoot out? And we just
Yes,
shoot
the
in?
people on the walls
So
will shoot out.
That's
And we can.
one way.
So we can't shoot in,
Yeah.
but they can shoot.
Yeah, they can shoot out.
That's what I
Can
figured.
you imagine having a magical defensive wall and you can just sit there and just watch this army appear in front of you? Just like, I can't shoot you till you bring down my shield, dog.
And yeah, and it starts the spell field starts at the wall, not 100 yards out in front.
Yeah, it starts a few feet in front of the wall.
Okay.
So, you guys begin debriefing, giving information. The decision is to be made. Are you guys like wanting to call the banners and get everyone? There are a lot of people around the continent. You guys have 7 days from today until the fold drops, which it would be preferred that this would be finished before then.
Percentage-wise, the 70% that still have the collars, we're assuming will be killed if we don't take this down.
Well, effectively, with you guys, if you gathered all your forces and attacked this place, it would effectively be a last hurrah. Not like an absolute last hurrah, but this would be the primary rebel forces. And so when the Yuan-Ti come out of the fold, they would certainly be able to resupply heavily. But the losses that will be accrued if you guys cannot start evacuation before the fold drops will be immense.
And this has to go down before we can do that.
Yes.
So it's 3 days to get this tower down, 3 days to evacuate. 1 day leans the other way.
I mean, we've got to start calling the banners and having them. We've got to start moving people there, regardless if they end up being used. If they're even just, hey, they see them, they're watching them, they're expecting an attack.
Guys, just
Thanks.
throw boogie bombs.
I wish.
So I was gonna say, like 3 days to like accrue resources for the attack, everybody in place. 1 day to actually do the attack, and then 3 days to start evacuating.
So I'm going to put this fairly plainly. The forces in this compound are not the entire Gwendolian forces here. There is probably somewhere around 20,000 Gwendolian forces in Dwinder itself. What this allows for is this allows for the near 100,000 slaves that are in Dwinder to join the rebellion in full force. So what this does is it expands your capability of recruiting immensely. Which would make for something like a full-out assault on Dwinder far, far easier. If you called every single person that is on your side in Dairn, it might be 15 to 20,000 people right now. Maybe a little bit more if you include all of the slaves that are incapable of combat just due to their incompetency or lack of training. You guys have like 40,000 freed slaves at this point under your control. Very few of them are actually trained because of how many resources you're actually able to get into Dairn in terms of training them, arming them, getting them prepared for something. Along with the fact that you've only had 5 months of this. So what this allows for is a true, expansive, and swift takeover of the rest of Dairn.
If we don't use them all up in suicide camps.
Yeah.
Of the two groups that you mentioned before that we had available that had some training, we have the good trained and the bad trained, poorly equipped, well equipped. What's the two numbers, and how long would it take us to get both of them over there?
So you have the group that is over in Karth, the group that is over just south of Karth, which is Skargas Point, which Warden and Nari have been a big part of operating.
About how many?
That is about 700 to 800 troops, and that's very well trained, very well armed, and they have enough weapons that they could likely arm most of the Faramar trading post crew.
I
Which is-
personally vouch for them.
Yeah, Nari helped train them, so did Warden. Warden and the Lightstar Forge kind of was the people who armed them. The crew that is in the Faramar trading post out here is closing in on 2,000 that are lightly trained and fairly okay equipped. Not the best armor, not the best weapons, but they've at least got something. There's probably another 10,000 slaves mixed between those two locations and a few other locations that that Topher purchased that would be able to be there, but they would essentially be fodder. Like, you give them a weapon, but they're peasants in a medieval war. They don't know what's going on. They can barely swing the sword. They just know the people wearing that type of armor, I'm here to kill.
I think there's really, but I think there's really only 3 approaches. One, we gamble it all with as many troops as we can, but even if we succeed, the probability of having all of them there and we sneak in, they're either going to just be out of position to actually get stuff done in all the important places when the collars come off, or we'll have a lot of losses, more than likely, if we do the frontal attack. I mean, is it doable? Yes. But if we're going to waste people, let's waste people who aren't trained, and as a distraction. This is Nibs. I mean, this is the Russian opinion. You throw the people out there that can't do anything, keep your quality people for doing actual work, well, as a distraction. But I don't really even see a benefit of doing that, because if they see them out there and they're looking for an attack, they're like, aha, there they are. There's no reason to do that when we could just go through the sewers.
Yeah.
Well, at least my logic of it, we don't necessarily need them to attack. We just need them out there as a distraction that the guards need to, like, take in mind of, like, oh, we might have them, like, feign doing sort of preparations, like building siege engines.
To put this simply, if you don't have some kind of force outside the walls, a small assault crew will not be able to complete this mission. Like, period, end of story.
So we will have to go in. We will have to open the gates for them before we can get in to do what we need to do.
There is if there is high alert in this locale, there will be 100 people outside of the doors to the tower. That's not something your crew can defeat. Not in its best day with best rolls. You need a distraction. You need an army taking those troops elsewhere, and while they may be expecting a smaller assault force somewhere, at least you'll have to deal with less people to get it done.
A show of force outside the wall, at least.
And if you rallied all of your allies that actually have power, say you rallied the Strongbacks, the Encyclocratus, were willing to help out a little bit.
Time frame.
Yeah, time frame.
The closest people are my slaves and the people where we're at now.
Yes, the closest people would be the Faramar trading post, which is only about a day's travel away. And really only like a day and a half's march with a full-size force. The group from Karth, you would have to teleport in, but if you had the Encyclocratus with you, they would certainly be able to make that happen.
Show of force distract them.
If the magical defenses are down, the capability of your guys' armed forces with how they're trained and such, especially if they're able to, like build a siege engine or two to get on the walls with greater ease, would likely be able to storm the walls just off of certain people you have on hand. The Strongbacks are bigger versions of Atan.
So, quick question: what is the area surrounding that town like? Is it just flat plains, or?
It is mostly like a flat plain, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
How big of a plane are we taking?
747.
if we take care of the engine that is powering a lot of the magical capabilities, including the hydraulics, as soon as we get rid of that magic, does that thing just start going down? The gate is what I'm trying to say.
Well, the gate would be down in the first place.
Not
Are
if
we
we
talking
show
about
the-
the bubble? The bubble's in the middle, and you would assume that yes, once it's deactivated, it would go down.
Okay. Well, I
It's
meant
actually
if we
easier
show,
if we drop the shields to go through the wall than it is to open the gate.
if we have a show of force, wouldn't they think about
Wait, is
bringing
the-
that gate up?
Is the magic
Gate
ball-
down means it's hard to get out. The
hydraulics?
gate falls down. Gate up would be open.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Essentially, the magic.
Is the
wall-
magic bubble? Because you said there's two different things. There's the magic bubble, and then there's the whatever. Is the magic bubble? If that went down, does the hydraulic system shut off?
Yes. So you would have to manually raise the gate. Now, that
Or
gate
just
is large
close
and would
itself.
very much be able to
Paint a
get a
hole.
lot of people in.
Dude,
Yeah,
what
I was
if
gonna say,
Warden
through the
just
wall.
jumper cabled himself to it?
To paint through this wall would take a lot of paint.
Paint through the gate.
Through the gate would be a different story. It's still a very thick gate, and it's actually it's a double gate by
So-
technicality, but it's raised along
It's
the
this
same
little
system.
weave generator that's powering the bubble and the hydraulics.
Oh, that's
So what if Warden just jumper cabled and then powered the gate?
I was assuming we can get
Wait.
to the gate.
Well, I got it. All I gotta do is we just blow up the generator, and then I plug myself into the generator.
So
But then the magic walls are back up.
No. I go to the hydraulic station. You guys
We
go
don't have a
blow up
turret,
the thing.
right?
The hydraulic station is
We
at
don't
the
have a
front
turret
of
at
the
this point,
gate,
do we?
where
Is it?
all the
Yes.
armed forces would be.
Well,
again?
There's
it's-
got to be some sort of cables.
It's
I could just plug myself
it is
in.
What
above
do we get
the
in
gate.
Troop Rose?
Like the gate house itself is sitting on top of the gate, and that's where the system along with the hydraulics are.
Are you telling me it's a wireless system?
It's a magical system.
Motherfucker.
So then,
So there aren't cables that I can just plug in.
There are cables, but they're more like chains that are magically powered.
But I'm talking like cables from
He
the
is a fire
generator
drill,
to the
yeah.
hydraulics.
He's a fire drill.
As long as
It would
we
be
can grow some
incredibly
trees,
difficult for you to
we
do
can
that. You could certainly try.
so we could
You're
have,
welcome to try and roll the
Reason.
DC 30 check.
Say so.
we could have a
Roger.
force.
I roll with
Yeah.
a plus 11 to nipple clamps. Thank you very much.
I roll a plus 20 to badass, so.
Well, this isn't a badass
Yeah.
check, sorry.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a nipple clamp.
but-
Also,
Yeah.
yeah. Speak with plants.
Well, the problem is that if it's
If
just
we had a
planes,
force
then we would need to grow
of-
trees.
Not like
Or just bring them.
literally
Yeah.
strong, but
Those
like
also
of
need
the
to be
best
polymorphs.
crowd. So I would say me, Nibs, maybe
Things
Warden,
that
probably
other
Warden, so we have a
corporations
healer,
know.
and probably at least one or maybe probably Nari and Gorsh.
Well, I'll tell you
assuming
right
Gorsh is
now,
gonna be
I'm
there.
not sneaking anywhere.
That we don't need to. We have a show of force outside of the wall. That would distract most of the guards, and we would have to deal with the guards there. We take them out, destroy the generator. He is going to be out front near the gate. He takes care of the gate by magically painting through it, and we put our show of force through said gate, and then we
Well,
have
you
a fight.
also have two other
We give the
things you need
paint
to take care
we
of.
give the paint to you because you can't stealth. He's going through the sewers with us.
Well,
What if he needs the paint?
if they're getting up to the gatehouse, y'all are gonna have to go through the sewers because you can't get to the gatehouse from the outside.
We go through the sewers, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
So they'll need the paint. You guys will be at the gate, right?
Well, here's the thing. When you guys get in there, it's dependent on how you want to do things. You can go to it with your full group of 12 to each separate thing. But the first one will be easy. The second one will be difficult. Anything else past that will be impossible.
we need to kill
Because they'll
somebody.
know there's a crew of 12. It would be best if all three things happened as close to simultaneously as possible.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying, since they're sneaking in through the sewer, wouldn't they want the paint?
Well, Warden,
I mean,
you're
it
sneaking
all-
through
it- we were saying.
I'm sneaking through the front door.
How are you sneaking through the front door?
Cool.
No, you're not.
You are not cool enough to get through the front door.
Are you here yet? No.
Maybe I have
Gorsh
some
will be
fans.
here momentarily.
You know, maybe some of the guards, you know, they're kind of big fans of Light Star Forge. They're like, hey, this guy's
Okay.
pretty cool. I want to get your autograph. And then they let down their defenses.
I think
Thomas.
That would get me.
That would get Gorge.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and say at this point it's around noon. That's when Gorsh was gonna slide in. So Gorsh appears in the teleportation room.
You all know him.
Well,
I don't.
So
you guys.
as you guys are actively talking about this, someone just a guard brings forward what appears to be an elf, who kind of walks in. Finch kind of nods to you and says, "Welcome, Gorsh."
Huh?
Hello. You guys are seeing an astral elf with bright bluish silver hair.
He was never an orc to begin with.
You tricked me. That hurts.
But it's not a trick. I was an orc. This is new.
Is he also a
Still
changeling?
ugly.
Ninja's, this little kobold, blue kobold's gonna kind of walk over to you and go, "Been there, done that," and kind of just hold up a fist. And sit there and walk away and goes,
Arcana.
I feel like there's some context I'm missing out on here.
He was an orc.
Was a half
Was or is, and it is not
"I'm
currently.
transgender,
was.
Could be transracial.
Trans-species.
What's up?
trans species."
Trans species.
Did he do the same
Transracial
procedure
guys.
that guy did?
He'd probably be the only one who has any idea what I did,
How?
or would know the process.
It's not the same process.
Mine was a
How?
I went
Your
on
best friend should know.
I went on a little trip.
Wait,
Acquired
he
a favorite rocket
he
ship?
was stuck with
He wasn't stuck. He
Arcana
chose.
checks to say, yeah, I probably have known. You don't have to go into
You
detail.
effectively, this is Gith Yankee shit that you don't know.
Are you sure that a 28 doesn't like say I have a?
When
I
you
have
have
an idea.
absolutely no opportunity to understand that type of magic and learn about it, yeah, that's a
But
DC
he was
500.
hanging out in the
I-
fold.
As your
No,
friend
you know it's a
asked,
Gith Yankee thing. You just don't know how.
What happened?
I acquired a body. I didn't want mine anymore, so I went and found a better one.
But that's how that's part of how Dr. Boberman was staying alive.
No, this is a completely different way of doing it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
This is not the sheath system. This is chromatos. There's quite a difference. I'm gonna put my shoulder
It's
in your
a heavy
sheath.
bag, and I go for a big bag.
Yes.
What magical spells would Finch have access to that might be handy in a scenario like
Finch is effectively a 20th level wizard. So he would have access to an extensive amount of spells.
like True Polymorph?
Like Wish.
I wish for the game
Did
to
you
be
see
fun.
that look he gave you? That bombastic side eye. Holy shit.
He would have access to a true polymorph,
Sci-fi.
not wish.
But a summoning spell would be fine.
By the way, now you can help us plan here, and then we're just.
Pretty much any summoning spell though.
Summoning spell for
I summon a
Ninth
Tarask.
Harass.
a 9th level summon.
Hey.
I am completely missing the context of why we're talking about 9th level summons.
Well,
What are we summoning?
I don't know why you're talking about something.
We
Because my
summon-
idea with True Polymorph is to just create a small army of treants and or young silver dragons. If we use the object and creature mode, it lasts for an hour, and we hold concentration the entire time and lasts until it's spell. They are friendly to us while the hour period, but after that, they're able to act for their own volition. The thing is that young silver dragons are lawful good, and treants are chaotic good. So saying we're gonna go stop slavery, I feel like that's something we would probably be in favor of.
Yeah.
And the thing about treants is that they have two very handy abilities. One, siege monsters, meaning they deal double damage to objects and structures, like walls. Two, they also have the ability to animate trees, which turns two regular trees into essentially copies of the treant. So we get a 3-for-1 deal.
What if we got a fun dragon and said, hey, you want to relive some fun? Let's go have some fun.
I was assuming you guys were going to talk to the Strongbacks at least at some point. You
Like-
likely won't get the dragon.
Well,
You'll get the bard.
That'd be kind of cool.
But
You
the
haven't
problem
read that,
is that
right?
if it's a plains round, there's not going to be a lot of trees that we could.
I'll
even
convince him to
transform
let
into
me
trees.
ride him
Unless
into battle.
I have been.
And Shayla can ride dog beside us at a tenth of the size.
Say,
Yeah, literally a tenth, if not less.
we could, I don't know, A, maybe potentially transport some
I
sort of
bet
tree,
Jack's
or
big enough
B,
to fit all of us on his.
I know, Logan said there was something the party who's a druid might be able to overcome that.
Not a super well. Trake is a druid and Shayla are both druids. Shayla's lower level though.
I mean, we just need them to grow some trees.
Yeah.
You
Could
can
do a
grow a
favor.
tree, but I don't think it's the kind of tree you want.
I literally just needed to be at the 15 by
If
15
Drake was
tree.
here, he would have literally grew a tree like in the corner of the room for fun.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, I just need a 15 by 15 tree and then 2 other trees.
Why?
There is a forest, not but half a day's march from that, or there's definitely
Are you telling me
trees
you're
in
gonna-
that plains. They're just not.
You're gonna carry a tree in there?
He's gonna fuck a tree.
No, I'm not gonna
No.
carry it inside. I'm gonna have it outside so it can be part of the distraction force.
No.
Mary at 3?
No, he was saying carry, not marry.
Yeah, he's into that.
Mary would have been much more interesting.
Larry.
Okay.
We'll make the tree Gary.
Larry, as long as it's Larry,
I
I
would
would marry Larry.
Damn, promise you hear that? She'd leave you for Larry.
Larry the cable guy?
No, Larry the undead Bostonian tree that says "fuck you." That's in
Larry
the full.
Darkoak.
Larry Darkoak.
She just wants that dead wood, I guess. I don't know.
That undead. That's
Okay,
what
Thomas.
they say.
Work on that.
Thomas would leave me for Lady Warlock in Destiny.
What?
I'd see it.
Oh my gosh.
You guys haven't even seen my Disney.
So,
What the hell did you pick out outfit for?
The color of my robe thing. What are they called?
There's no way we can get a
Clothes
scroll
guard.
of Trask.
Hunters wear clothes.
no, we need to.
And the Trask was also around like 8 years ago, and they don't really come around very often.
Summoning a scroll of
Yeah.
Trask.
I don't know if I would even say those exist in my world. I went Trask.
What if
What if we can get the Xamin things?
The what?
The Johns?
Yes,
John.
we will have an armada of cow alpaca spiders running down there.
Well, that is
I mean, I think
effectively
that's quite a
what
distraction.
Trake and Shayla are trying to do right now. They're trying to
Recruit
finalize
all the
a
Johns.
truce for, well, no, for the Druids who have a flock of Johns.
So if we
Look
got
at
the
all those
druids,
Johns.
if we got the druids, we wouldn't have issues. So, all right. So what do we need to accomplish to keep things going along? There the specific attack plan we can work out later, or do you need that figured out now?
Well, my hope was that we would be at a war camp by the end of this session.
Okay.
We have an hour and a half.
We are.
Whoa.
So we bring this information back. We tell all the leaders of the groups. Are we the ones making the choices on how this goes down, or
Marquet and Finch are also there, and they are definitely participating in the
so
conversation.
we are, they are, but we are deciding the fates of it.
Effectively, this is a war council.
Okay, and we don't have any of the wizards from the other.
You guys do not have any of the members of the Insect Procratus or anything there with you. If that's something that you wanted to make occur, then we could say we adjourn this meeting until later in the day, upon which someone like Ventar Quintomerus or Karis Undervale were able to attend.
We need to know if they're willing to help in this. Like, how passionate are they? Like, how willing are they to do, or to do this to bust that? Like, what
You're
we
talking
need
to the people who've been like trying to build up to this for a while now, and have gone to extreme lengths.
We're talking about the Encyclocratus. They've done a lot less than everyone else.
Right.
They've helped, but they are technically directly linked to the Dwendalian Empire. So doing this would be a fairly large, or at least they're an organization that is based in the Dwendalian Empire that has a lot of wizards back home.
We need to find out before they come to the council meeting.
I thought we were talking
How
about like
are they willing to back us in this, or are they just gonna say, hey, we're gonna stay out of it? That's what we need to know before we make the plan.
Finch will send some more notes to the Encyclocratus to try and get a message by the end of the day. Marquet kind of speaks up. He is in favor of bringing both the troops from the Faramar Trading Post and Skaragos Point at least there as a show of force and possible assault, dependent upon how many other allies we can bring in. If the druids are able to come, that'll help in our, capabilities of actually climbing and getting on top of the wall easier. And that's not including the kind of force that would go through the front gate if that was able to be raised. There are only so many troops, and if they could get, say, the druids and the wizards, they could attack from 3 different vectors, and that would bring a huge amount of the forces of the facility away from the center, which would allow you guys to hopefully pretty much walk from wherever you were, destroying those systems, to the tower with minimal issue.
So you're talking about there being the forest to the half a day's march south of
Yeah,
the
there is a large amount of trees down there. It's not like it's a full-on forest.
Yeah. How far away is that from my current location?
From your current location, a little over half a day's ride. You could be there by the evening if you went.
So are we waiting for the message of them?
And suppose do I have a sending stone or some other reliable way of communicating back with people?
You definitely have a setting stone to Finch, at least. If not one to Marquet as well.
I think I have one to Marquet.
Yeah, you do.
We reach location real quick.
Well, if we have at least one of our people with the Rocky Talkie outside of the wall, we destroy the magical barrier. Would the Rocky Talkie be able to get there, not being muffled?
As long as both of the systems were destroyed, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then.
Effectively, how it seems, whether you guys want to approach it this way or not, there are 3 different objectives that need to be accomplished in short succession that will allow for the greatest chance of success of a full-on assault of the facility, which will be the destruction of the centralized defense system in the middle of the compound, a assault on the front gate from the inside, destroying the arcane shields, and then a group going to assassinate the Count Junker Halrock. So that leadership of a defense is non-existent.
So, I guess one last question for you. So when a teleportation circle is cast, obviously you can go from where it's casted to the other permanent end, but can you do the reverse? So if I were to cast a teleportation circle, out near that forest, can somebody come walk?
You have to have a permanent circle to go to.
And permanent circles take time.
They take a year, in most
Yeah.
occasions. You can do it quicker, but in most occasions, a year.
What sort of teleportation skills does Finch have?
Finch would have this spell teleport.
And I'm wondering if I want to do some, funny tree shenanigans, I really need to start going in that direction.
Yeah, you and Finch can go and do that, and if you guys were willing to leave the treants there, come back within an hour, as long as, well, a little over, because you probably want to wait until after True Polymorph has run its course.
As long as you've got a communication stone, you don't have to come back.
Yeah, but he only gets 1 9th level casting per day, so he might as well go there and then come back.
I think I have teleport as well. I'm trying to find it.
I believe you do.
Yep, I have teleport as well.
Sorry.
Dang. Only works for my spell slots and not for my Mystic Arcane. Because my ability let me get the Mystic Arcanes back right now. Alright.
Getting a Mystic Arcanum back is stupid OP.
Yeah, but it's also the level 20 ability, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright, so let's have me and Finch do the funny tree shenanigan. Does anybody want to tag along?
I'll join.
Okay. So we've got a crew going for funny treant shenanigans. Does a crew want to teleport to Skargos Point and Karth and rally the group there? Because you guys could, of course, send a note, but someone actually being there would obviously be a little bit quicker.
I think the group that should go to Karth are probably Warden and Ari, because they're.
Yeah,
I want to tinker with the robot.
Nari can go.
Nari could certainly go.
If Nari
You need to go
goes,
to Skargos?
Yeah, to Skargos Point.
Or are you saying Karth and Skargos?
Well, they're like 3 hours away from each other by walk. So you could go to one, walk to the other, gather all the forces, and come back by via teleport, and be back before dinner.
Yeah, we should probably go do that as well then.
Okay. So, Nari and Atan. Is anyone else wanting to join that group?
Nibs will go with Nari.
Nibs will go with Nari. Warden,
Dragon.
you just want to stick around and tinker with the robot?
Remind me what Nari's doing. Sorry, I had to check out for a second. When I got yelled
So
at.
effectively, it's just going back to both Skargos Point and Karth, and rallying all the troops there. So going to the Strongbacks, going to Skargos Point, just letting everyone know what's going on, and beginning teleporting people to the Faramar trading post, so you guys can begin a march.
Cool. Got it.
Warden will send messages to his people if there's anything that needs to be made, and then Tilly Purple here.
Okay. So is there anything else a crew is wanting to do? Warden, I'm assuming you're tinkering with the robot.
I'll probably go with the group to
Yeah.
Karth.
Okay.
At least for a day or so.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and have you roll me 3 checks. I'm gonna have you roll me a tinkering check, an arcana check, and a luck check.
Gonna make you tinker on that tinker.
I guess I should roll these separately. I can't just, or I can just assign it to a die. So, tinkering's gonna be the gears, the arcana's gonna be this one, and the luck is gonna be this one.
Okay.
That is a, hold on, I gotta pull it. Is that tinkering tools, you put that in there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Does that include my features? Actually, I think it's my smithing tools that get that bonus. Anyway, 7 plus 6 is 16 is
23.
23. That's tinkering tools, 23. Arcana
So
is
plus 10.
a 15. And luck is an 11.
Luck is an 11, so that's a a 49. With a 49, you're able to, in day one, the programming that the Gundalian Empire had put into the system, you're able to pretty much destroy and bring it back to starting block number 1.
Cool.
You still, and that'll
It's gonna
take
take more time.
It's still going to take you fairly well into the evening, but you know Warden's going to be at some of these other councils and conversations later in the day. So you're able to completely strip the previous system of controlling the creature and begin developing how you're going to do it yourself.
Cool.
Okay, so the group runs off to Karth and Skargos Point. At Skargos Point, Bram and Editaric, along with all of the other defected huntsmen, along with a large group of the trained slaves and a couple specific commanders you guys get with, let them know the situation, and figure out exactly how they're getting there. And they have some wizards that can do some teleportation. It'll take them well through today and some of tomorrow to get everyone through, but they'll be able to get everything there by tomorrow evening, is what it sounds like. And if they're able to get some more teleporting help, they can make it happen faster. Then going up to the road to Karth, there's not as much of a consortial presence in Karth as it was all kind of moved to Skargos Point, but the Strongbacks are still there, where you guys go back to the Whale's Call. So we'll actually roleplay this a little bit. So with those that are there, it'll be Nibs, Mike, Atan, and Nari. So as you guys kind of enter, it is surprisingly empty. It still provides that, you know, homey feel as it always has for you guys, but there's really only like 3 or 4 people inside. Tark is kind of sitting at the bar, just absolutely demolishing this huge gallon of ale or some kind of drink, while what's the other one's name? The Furbolg is behind the counter, and it seems like Jack is doing some book work at the bar. As you guys kind of enter, he kind of turns his head. Oh, wasn't expecting you guys today.
Isn't it my favorite dragon? I just go over and kind of give him
Born.
like a
Dragonborn.
Yes, Dragonborn.
That's
Kind of chuckles to himself. Well, what can I do for you?
Mari's gonna order the thing that she and Nibs usually drink.
That's something you guys make. That's not on the. You guys.
The
you guys-
Dwarven whiskey, the chaser,
And the oil.
and
The lamp
Nibs.
I'm sure we
Nibs-
can find the oil somewhere.
Nibs has got oil. It's not kerosene. It's hinge oil this time.
Oh, this is the first time you've seen Jack. Wait, you're there too?
Yeah, Nibs is there.
This is the first time you've seen
Jack for a
Jack
while.
and all of them in quite a while.
Yeah. Nibs kind of nod to him. But he doesn't know he's a dragon and all that stuff you guys know. He just thinks he's a whatever. He doesn't know.
No, and you guys haven't informed him on that.
So,
Negative.
So, what can I do for you today, other than alcohol?
Well,
Pretty
Pretty
good.
first
much.
let's get a drink. And then I'll talk to you about some things that are happening.
Alright, so he kind of nods to the bartender and he starts to fill up a round of not very stout drinks to kind of push over.
So, of recent note, there's been some things happening.
As anticipated.
Yes. And we're wondering if we can have the support of the Strongbacks in a certain confrontation that might be happening.
Who, when, and where? We know the why, or at least I would assume I would know the why.
The who? Can I get some help here?
Guys. The Barbarian's trying to roll charisma.
Our barbarian's the front of the party right now.
The Barbarian's rolling charisma.
But would I be able to relay this without me actually remembering?
Fairly
He doesn't
well.
remember all of the names.
It's
Yeah.
hard to remember names, goddamn.
Would
Okay, let's say-
Nari
let's just-
or Nibs like to
Nari
will
assist
help.
us? Okay. Okay. You wanna go ahead and talk a little bit, Nari, about what's going on, or do you not?
Nib's got a 21 on his con save for the alcohol, so he can talk pretty.
So
good.
Nibs goes, ugh. Alright, so Nibs
Let's
and
talk some
Nari all
tea.
kind of go in, kind of explain, hey, there's this outpost that's kind of like the centralized location for the callers that have recently been discovered. We're kind of fucked. We're trying to figure out how to do it. We could use some help. After
We'd like to
explaining,
minimize casualties.
Yeah, 75% of the slaves won't be able to probably get free if we don't take this out, and that means they won't get to evacuate, which is somewhere, you know, you're talking
I mean, there's 100,000 in Dwinder.
a lot.
yeah, Dwinder has about 240 or so thousand people in it, and 100 or so of them as slaves.
Yeah, so
It has a near 50% slave population.
Yeah, I figured that one out with the math.
yeah.
Jack kind of takes it all in and says, well, I'll have to talk with the others about it. We would be coming out of retirement. However, we could at least send some aid in terms of resources and possibly a few extra hands. The Whales Call has a lot of pull with the Claudius Guild, so the Clavis Guild. So we could likely have some assistance there, and they know you. And they're along a similar train of thought in terms of anti-slavery. So at least we could bring some there, as their headquarters are now in Karth. Would you like us to send them down to the Skaragos Point, or march them out to wherever we're going?
Skaragast, I would say.
Length of time, like if they go to Skaragos, we could teleport them there.
Yes, you could teleport them to the Faramar Point, upon which tomorrow evening is when it sounds like the march will begin, and by the evening after that, you'll be able to be there with the army, camped down, and either attack that evening or the next morning or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, then that makes the most sense, I guess. Whatever has the highest chance of not being intercepted by some of the other soldiers. Because
Yes.
we got to do this without blowing our cover and getting caught up in pointless conflicts with other people.
Well, dependent upon how many, dependent upon how Mariak, Stoneson, and Topher Merrick have their spies in our midst, that will decide. I doubt they have too many.
He hands you a list.
He kind of takes it and says, well, this list means nothing to me as I don't know who's in Skaragos Point. However, I will say there are likely some names that will have to be looked into, and would likely be best looked into before marching.
Alright, I guess we got some work to do for our bird friends. So, I guess if you didn't have anything to do, he'll give you, when we get back, he'll give you a list of people to kill.
Okay.
Okay. So there are 4 names that are in Skaragos Point that, whether by force of family, magical force, some charm,
Yeah.
they are informants in some regard.
Yep.
So when you guys get back, you will take care of those. There are none in the Faramar trading post, as that is actually a far less known locale. And there are a few other names that you guys can have Finch send message to get taken care of. And he says, we will discuss with the Clavis Guild and try and have their people down there by this evening. It'll likely be somewhere between 100 and 120, but they will likely be better trained and armed than your group, as they are all adventurers. As for ourselves, he kind of looks to Tark, and Tark is just standing there licking his lips, ready for a fight. I don't see why we wouldn't be there. It will still be a discussion. We will march down with the Clavis Guild when the time comes this evening, and we will see from there.
didn't say no, no, it's not. Which means the dragon's itching for a fight too.
Well, if you ask that question, you'll get an answer about that.
But he's not here, so we're not
But
gonna ask.
the warden's not there. You guys as the
playing
group
with his
would
toys.
would guess that you're probably getting the bard, not the dragon. It's still a 20th level bard. It's still a very, very powerful person, but not a dragon.
He doesn't have to go, Super Saiyan or anything. He just has to.
Well, he might be asking it. I'm also gonna ask it though. As
Yeah.
a dragonborn asking a dragon, I'll go up close to make sure no one else can hear. Like, aren't you itching for a little bit of something? One last thing, because this whole land's gonna be demolished in a matter of
Days.
literally 7 days.
The last thing is the story of Jack the Bard. That is what matters.
Wait, he said they get the bar. Oh,
He's
Jack the Bard.
Jack the Bard.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, all right. That's
That
all
is the
fine.
story that is being told.
Fair point. I go and
Stab him up. Okay, so with that, the Whale's Call is going to close, and they make their way to the Clavis Guild to begin discussions. They're also probably going to bring a couple hundred cartloads of food from their farms for this, so that you guys can actually feed that force of nearly 3,000 people at this point.
oh, and before we head back, can I go to his mom and dad's house and get like a glass of milk from the milk bar?
Atan could run out there if he wanted to.
I am the milkman.
I am the milkman.
I understand.
There is, so Aiden and Logan, for you guys, there is canonically a milk tap in my world due to Jack's parents.
And I'm so
Any milk imaginable.
Goat milk, cow milk, xanthan milk, bull milk.
Gith milk.
Hold up.
Man milk.
Man milk! Yeah, no, there's...
Well,
his parents are gnomes, and he's adopted, and he's a big old dragonborn.
Get Yankee milk,
I'm saying they got it.
elf milk, dwarf milk.
Well, that's planet.
We're not talking humanoid milks, we're talking about four-legged milks. So centaurs would be the only ones who are milked in this place.
So at least we know they don't work back to
cow people.
Owl bear milk.
Howl bear milk?
Owl
Damn.
bear.
Honestly, give me some of that. If it... Dude,
So
the owl
Nibs
bear...
will stick with his powerful drinks. His
Nibs.
fire bombs with
He goes to drink the
Alright.
milk, he gets like acre of strength.
Acre of strength.
Gets a +10 to all strength.
No. So you guys spend a little bit of time drinking in the Whale's Call. Atan runs out to the farm, gets some milk,
say hi to both the parents.
say hi to the parents. It's probably something he's done multiple
New
times.
additions to my collection.
Some other people have definitely gone there as well. So you guys all
I
walk
don't know if
back
you
down
saw-
to the Skaragos Point. At that point, it's about 5 or 6 in the
Yeah.
evening. So you guys quickly give out some names, get some people together, and go kill some people. Or at least take... Would you be taking them into captivity or killing them?
Nibs would know which or which.
Okay.
I mean, because he was one of the guys that took all the reports. He knows
Yeah.
who needs to be killed. Who
Okay.
can just be.
So 2 of them, you guys kill a pair of dwarves, one of whom is actually a smith for the Lightstar Forge in the Skaragos Point. And the other is just an ex-huntsman that came over, or said he came over.
Warden
with
needs to
Brandon
get
Turner.
better at vetting his smiths.
He actually vetted over half of his smiths, and they got all locked up by the Consortio.
Or dead.
at
He
a
doesn't
certain
know.
point.
Warden specifically chose to stay as oblivious to what was going on with the Consortio's dealings as possible. Because if he were to be questioned by guards or get audited for his business,
I don't know where the money went. Oh, so you're just an incompetent business owner.
yeah, right.
Better incompetence than malice.
He doesn't pay taxes.
So then he doesn't have to roll deception.
I literally
just
don't have to
telling you
roll
it doesn't
deception.
help.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
literally told Old Soul, don't let me just make it where I don't have to lie to anybody.
Okay, so as we all gather back at the Farmar Trading Post, you and your brother go and true polymorph a pair of trees into Ents or dragons or
Say, treants.
treants. Okay, and so they are able to create 2 more, correct?
I'll go ahead and just shoot you over the
Killing
step
more
one.
of the Smiths?
Okay.
What?
Killing more of the Smiths?
Yeah.
1 more, yeah.
Just one more?
Yeah.
Also, I'll go ahead and shoot you over
They didn't tell you
young
you were
silver
busy.
dragon,
I was gonna say, you're
even
not
though
there.
I don't know if I'll be using them or not.
As long as it's not one of the ones I like.
It was. It was your favorite one.
It was Dayran.
I was gonna say it was AAE.
So,
What about the beat parts?
So let's take timeline into account. So we have today, which you will spawn 2,
Yeah.
and they'll each spawn 2 today. Tomorrow.
Well, it's only a once per day thing, and then at the end of the day they just deanimate. So it's not like they can
Okay.
create a continual army of treants.
Okay, so to get our timeline, when are you guys wanting to do this? So we have today, tomorrow is when the rest of the Skaragos point will be there, and then it's going to be a day's march, which will be an overnight march if you do it, so it'll be best to rest them, and then the previous morning. So that would give you 2 more castings, a third if you used your 9th level spell the day of the assault.
I mean, I was thinking that like we take 3 days to prepare, 1 day to like, do the actual mission, and then 3 days to make sure we get people evacuated.
Yeah, that would be our time frame.
Yeah. So in that case, I would be able to get 3 treants, and then assuming Finch does that with me, and we get an additional 3, so 6 total, and then they can each spawn 2, which lasts for a day. So we're going to have 18 total.
18 on day of. You could get that to 24 if you used your true polymorph day of.
I think I would like to save my 9th level slot day of.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call that as it is with 18 treants on the day of, 6 of which being with the 12 intelligence, 16 wisdom, and 12 charisma, and the rest being just with 1s. Other than the wisdom, they have still. That's weird. I don't know why it doesn't say the wisdom's also 1 for that, because having a creature with a 16 wisdom that just got spawned by another version of itself is. Well, regardless.
I mean, I guess you might view wisdom as more like a sort of like instinctual understanding.
Yeah.
So they're more like operating off of instinct,
Right.
whereas a regular tree could actually hold a conversation with you.
Yeah.
They're
So.
just animated trees.
So,
basically.
are we gonna go all 6 treants, or are we gonna have some dragons in there?
I think I was. If I was
How many
going to spawn a
treants?
dragon, I think I'd do it day of. Just because, well, the treants are more useful as distractions, and they can't really smuggle the dragon inside.
Yeah. Well, silver dragons are known for morphing into humanoid forms.
The young silver dragon does not have that.
Does not have that ability? Okay. I was gonna say, silver and steel dragons are the 2 that like to be human.
Typically, they have to be adult dragons to shift.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I can only do CR9 creatures, and adult dragons are a bit higher than that.
Adult dragons are a little bit higher than a CR9.
Okay, so you guys are good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the plan. Did we find out if any of the bigwigs have not fled
That's
yet?
that's what we're getting to. So I was just doing what everyone did during the day, figuring out timelines for all that. So we did warding, we did the group in Karth, and now we did the group going out and doing treants. In terms of information that Finch brings back once he's gotten all of his notes and such, the Lord Hethafar Irio has left Daron at this point. He is on a boat heading back for Dwinder, or the Dwendalian Empire. The Count Junker Halrock has disappeared. He very, very quickly in the morning seemingly disappeared. Mariak Stoneson's whereabouts were unknown in the first place, but they have continued to stay that way. However, it has seemed that there's been a recalling of about every Arkstone guard in Daron. to the nearest place where they can teleport from. Gendro Dwin seems to continue to sit in the council at Dwinder itself. He does not seem to have gone anywhere. In terms of other major players, there are a couple other like large captains of guard and such that have seemingly disappeared, but it seems like the largest number of like the Obsidian Guard and stuff are staying in the cities. And when you have 20,000, it's not going to be easy to say, yeah, 400 disappeared. Well, there's 20,000. They probably just went to bed. So, you know, as the change of shift, as the next couple days go by, they might see, you know, a reduced guard or something like that. But that'll be for the next couple days to decide. The Insect Rocratus returned with Karis Undervale, Ventar Quintomerus, and one of their other members will be there, but they will all be under disguise. They will not be under their true forms.
But they will support.
But they will support. 3 of them will. There are 5 in Dairn, so 2 of them will not. 2 of them will be staying in Dwinder.
Makes sense.
But 3 will be there to provide some sort of magical assistance, and they are all level 20 spellcasters.
Are they willing to go in through the sewers, or are they wanting to stay in disguise out
They would likely be best used on the outside.
with the ants and the other stuff?
Likely, if you guys were able to have 3 assaults, you know, you've got your western side, which has the tower, so you probably wouldn't want to assault that, so you would have as few people by the tower as possible. But you'd have your north group, your eastern, and then your southern, and you could have a group of well over 1,000 troops at each with some specialty stuff. You could have treants, you could have wizards, you've got 120 adventurers, which are probably somewhere between level 5 and 15, all with you as well with the Clavus Guild. And the Strongbacks also storming the front gate would be extensively helpful. Or you could probably take at least one of the Strongbacks with you inside if you wanted. So you also get note when Shayla, Dog, and Trake come in that they had to kill some druids. There was a conglomerate of what's called the Earth's Children, or also known as the Children of the Weave, which is a very, very old order, but they're now called the Earth's Children, that were kind of the antagonistic force in the Druidic Grove that you know fairly well. There was maybe 100 of them overall. That effectively things rose to a point where a massive fight broke out. Dog got fairly badly injured, but was able to be healed by Trake and Shayla. And there are about 5 or so hundred druids that they were not the ones who made the first move. The Children of the Weave were. So they're all pretty angry and ready to get some payback because that group was under the influence of some Khtonid forces. So there is a section of 500 druids along with a pretty extensive series of pretty mystical creatures, including about 1,200 Xantums. However, I don't know how you're going to use 1,200 Xantums in an assault like this, considering they're actually very, very passive creatures naturally.
We're gonna have them mow the lawn.
They will do that in an instant. So, that is another force, and they have, Trake and Shayla have provided them a set of trees nearby to where they can teleport via plants to and bring people in.
They just have like a little potted plant that everyone just keeps walking on.
It has to be the size. It has to be 2 sizes larger than the creature going through it.
They just have a wagon with a fat fucking tree on it.
Yeah. So
One of those trees was dumpy.
you guys are bringing approximately at this point 3,500 to 4,000 people to this assault, and everyone will be there tomorrow evening. And the troops from Skaragos Point have been teleporting in throughout the day and are starting to almost overwhelm Faramar Point because it was already kind of like brimming with how many people they had in it. And so now with these new people, it's like, okay, well, where's all the food coming from? And then like just cartfuls of food start getting teleported in due to Jack. And he's like, well, I can't take it back to the mainland with me, and everything's about to explode in ash. So we gotta use it somehow.
So it might be a little late to try and figure out. But you said there was a total of 12. You get a group of 12 through the sewer.
You can fit a group of 12 through the sewer, yeah.
I count 2, 4, 6, 7 party members. Who are the other 5 going to be?
8, Trake. 9, probably Shayla. And then you have 3 open slots.
Couple questions. I
Yeah.
know for logistics for your purposes, you're like 12 people can fit in there. But if we use some large reduced or or had druids turn into small creatures and took them with us, we could technically get more through, but
So
that's
dependent
going to be
logistically, the characters that I will be focusing on and running will only be 12. I will only allow that because I'm already going to have a lot on my plate, and we only have 3 sessions to
That's
do
why
it.
I was looking
Logistically, it doesn't make sense. However, if you had a whole bunch of druids that say shifted into mosquitoes or squirrels or just little
Yeah,
birds,
rats.
and they came in with you, you could probably get at least 20 more, and they could be in there and cause a distraction.
Yeah.
The
my
the
thought
general.
was-
Go ahead.
My thought was if we could get them in when we go for the first target, they go for a secondary target, and then
Would they be strong enough to take out that secondary
it
target?
depends on the. I mean, well, even if they're not, they're druids. They could die well in pious time and cause trouble, but
Well, as
but what
there
would you-
are other targets that they can hit
Yeah.
that are less. You have to be super in tuned magically, or you have to be literally the strongest person on Earth.
Yeah, there,
kind of
that
things.
was my thoughts. It's
Yeah.
just a
The 3 targets that
Just give them a false flag target.
I mean, I figured they might just serve as kind of distractions with regard to hopefully, lessen the burden on us, spread the
yeah,
forces. even
especially
more.
if you have an active assault like moving in from 3 different sides.
yeah.
That will lessen the amount of guards that you're having to deal with.
I mean,
in
I
each
know
of the
you
other
don't have to
3
run
locations.
them, but it was like that was my thought. Was,
Just send all of
Can
them
we
to
do-
go burn down the barracks.
Yeah, or go take out one of the ballista on the walls.
Or just summon a fuck ton of little sprites.
there's angry sprites.
2,000 angry sprites now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, literally, they have summoned if they have summoned creatures like Trek does, they
Yeah.
could summon a bunch of cranky things. But we don't have to role play them. I was just curious. Is that something you're allowing?
I will allow that. It's merely the 12 was merely a for you guys.
Yeah.
Especially considering there's 3 objects, you guys can split into groups of 4 and take out all 3 of these in as close to simultaneous a situation as possible. And obviously, like there's certain missions that say lend well to certain characters. Say taking down a magical situation in the middle. Gorsh, maybe Trake, characters who are great at dispelling, that kind of stuff. But you're going to need dispellers at the front gate. Warden, but you also need strength to pull up the gate. Atan, you need to go assassinate someone. Nari and Mike, your 2 highest DPS characters. Maybe Robin as well, depending on where he wants to go. You have these different situations where they lend well to the skills of the party.
What's stopping us from lifting the gate up enough and then just a movable rod? That's Trake's favorite toy. He never gets to use.
Potentially heavy enough that it would just.
The immovable rod
rush
only goes to
the
5,000 pounds, 10,000
Then
pounds.
we'll get
Maybe
more
it's
than
10,000.
one
I can
movable
check
rod.
This gate is fucking heavy.
enough that it's a DC 30 check.
Yeah.
If it's too heavy, then it just
More
crushes
than
the DC
one
30
immovable
intrinsically.
rod.
I can cast a movable object.
There's that too, but is it concentration? Are you willing
No,
to concentrate?
it's not
How long does it
concentration.
last?
Lasts an hour.
That would be a
base-
large group.
At base level, the object can weigh 10 pounds, but it can hold 4,000. Every level above it adds another 4,000 pounds it can hold.
What's the base level?
Base level is second.
So you
if
probably
I-
have to use a 6th or 7th.
That would make it in the
Yeah.
30,000 pound area.
Yeah.
You're telling me this gate is like 30,000
It's hefty.
Brother, it is a 20 or so foot tall gate nearly 15 or so wide, a foot thick of wrought iron, and you can barely fit an arm
I mean, it's
through
only
its
15
holes.
tons.
I was gonna say, it's fucking heavy.
Oh, yeah, it's only 15 tons when you think about it like that.
I mean,
It's
it
not
literally
that
needed
bad.
magical hydraulics to move the damn thing.
And it's technically a
literally made of hydraulics.
and it's technically
Oh.
a double gate. Like there's the main gate, and then there's a smaller one right behind it.
Funny thing, if I cast it at 6th level, 25,000 pounds. The DC to get rid of it is increased by 10, and the effect is permanent until dispelled.
That would certainly be helpful in
Sixth
terms of
level.
getting people through the gate.
Yeah. Okay.
It gets
That's
dispelled
fine.
as a couple of Xanthams are going
So-
by, and they just get slapped in half.
The DC
So,
gets up though for that
you know,
level by 10.
But then there's the question, and this is something that I would like us to have resolved before next session, is who is doing what.
Okay.
So, you know, that sounds great
Fuck the
of,
gate.
you know, you want to go to the gate. But also, the more magically in-tuned one that needs to be taken care of is in the middle. So where does Gorsh go? Where does Warden go? Where does Robin go? You know, you're going to the gate probably, because you got to lift it. Or
Well-
at least participate in getting it up.
I think it's about time I finally use
Is the-
the potion.
I will let you know I was thinking about that when I was designing.
I-
Warden could
I'm-
probably help.
I'm no.
Forearm flexing.
I'm
And then,
really gonna be
who's
like,
going to dispel the centerpiece?
I have
I have a question.
Yep.
We
We
haven't,
haven't
used our last wish,
yeah?
No, you have not.
Thomas was thinking about that.
If we wish to summon a Jurassic.
I've been telepathically speaking to him
That
like
might
be-
most
yeah,
of the
I
session
mean-
about it.
Yeah, Zach, I'm gonna.
I mean, we can't take
How about a
this
scroll?
tower down,
I'm
then
gonna-
our
I'm
other
gonna-
efforts are really gonna be,
you
you
know,
know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Logan said earlier,
yeah,
75% of the
here.
slaves you'll be able to
I
get
already
out.
talked about it.
He's
So-
been texting me like all session about whether or not we should use
That is another discussion. And this will be the session that I am highly advising you guys get in the
We
group
need
chat.
to talk about that.
Get in the Discord. Whether you guys arrange a time, like if I'm there or not, it doesn't really matter. We can arrange a time. You know, 9 p.m. on this weekend or something, we get on and talk for a little bit and try and plan a little bit. Nate over here, no. But like, get in the group chat, talk about it. If you guys have an idea for a plan, figure it out. If your character wants to go to a specific mission,
I'm gonna kill a bitch.
you're kind of the best at it. At least for stealth kills. So figure out your plans. In terms of what else is happening this session, you've kind of got the base idea set up. Yes, I'll say you can get 25 druids in if they all wild shape into creatures that are small enough to also fit in that space. Because the space isn't necessarily the issue. Like, it is only like a
It's the
3 by 4. It's the timing, because the doors close in about 10 seconds, and they're spaced out well enough, and they only open through that full cycle every 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to get in and go, 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 go.
Right. So that was just mainly the reason I was checking because, like I said, we don't necessarily have them in there, but if we gave them a goal, you go for this. Like, even if they, I mean, to be honest, the group that goes for turning it off or the gate is just, they're going to lose people along the way. If it's
Yeah.
going to be a mess.
Unless there is a large distraction
Yeah.
in there taking a lot of potential.
That's
I will
what-
also say, if certain NPCs were willing that are friends of yours and weren't actively a part of leading the outside forces, like Finch might be able to come in. That would be very, very tough on him to come in because he's needed to command forces. But like Marquet could probably do at least one of the sections. You know, Jack's probably going to be commanding a squadron as well. Probably then Socrates doing another side. But you know, where people are, you guys could probably like those druids could polymorph a couple people, and they could come in with you as well. And so you could have Tark leading this band of people ravaging through the facility. So I'm gonna leave this to you guys. You guys can discuss a little bit more, figure things out. I am gonna end this at 8 because I'm fucking sick and tired, and my head hurts.
Thank you.
But you know, I want this to be
That's
discussed.
you.
Oh my
Got
god.
That's you.
Oh,
Oh, I got it.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
so
I'm so sorry,
guys.
guys.
I thought you were talking to Zach.
I really thought so as well. Before about the third one.
That's fucking hilarious. Okay.
I
I can't see the mic
when it's just like,
yeah.
yeah.
So, okay.
All right, we'll discuss it.
So
Just using my headset,
yeah.
it's just a flip up.
yeah, I know. So discussion time. Do any of you guys have anything you want to discuss right now? Any points you want to make? Where your character's going?
Okay. We should decide the strike team that's going through the sewer before anything.
Well,
The
like,
whole group, pretty much the whole group. and
8,
then-
but you have 4 other
wait.
full-size people you can fit in there as well.
Okay.
Wait,
well,
I thought.
so-
sorry,
Well,
how
no,
many people
I was
at
gonna
the
say
gate?
I need to be at the gate.
well, I thought we
Well,
were
he was
sneaking
thinking.
in.
He was thinking we sneak in and you. go
Like,
to
who
gate
all is
from
going through the
inside.
sewer? So you're going to have 25 druids, some that are being able to polymorph people, but you can have 3 other people. Because you've got Trake and Shayla that we're not accounting for right here, right now. So what
Warden
3
is
NPCs?
not sneaky.
I'm not sneaky.
No, but this isn't necessarily I'm sneaking through. This is
Yeah, but we'd alarm the guards a lot faster.
Well, once we
Sorry,
get
sorry.
Especially if we're going to the gate.
you can fucking hover. You can
Oh,
just
that's
hover.
right. I can just like cape over.
But we're going to the gate though
I
and
have
lifting.
a
That's gonna get eyes on
Cape
us.
of Raven.
Well,
or
Yeah.
whatever.
hopefully that attack should start by now and
I
take a
can't
lot of
remember
those
what it's
eyes.
called.
Allows you to hover off the ground a little bit.
That would be
Well,
Allows me to
though.
fly.
Think this way. You could try and bring someone
It's a
with you that
cloak
can
with ravens
cast
feathers.
seeming or mass
I can
disguise self
fly.
kind of stuff, and try and at least disguise yourselves
I
so
still
that
have
you
an
can get
invisibility
moving.
potion.
A disability potion?
You
I
guys
still
can-
I
yeah.
still have an
So
invisibility.
you guys
Get a
can,
lot of those.
you guys like one group can go with him. You guys can have seeming. You know, if you have charismatic characters with him, you guys can do performance checks to get through. And honestly, in high chaos situations, probably going to be fairly easy. You know, if
Or
one
useful.
group wants to go invisible for the assassination, let's say, you guys have the potions to do that. If not,
So,
they're easily
I
accessible.
still
I'm gonna go ahead and quote seeming.
Okay.
Range area 30
Then
feet,
everyone
cast
can
one
just do
action,
that
duration
now.
8 hours.
Remove all
It
the
allows you to
words.
change the appearance of any number of creatures you can see within range. You give each target a new illusory appearance, unwilling target can make yours a throw. Disguises physical appearance as well as clothing, armor, equipment. You can make your team 1 foot tall or shorter. That's
Me-
fat, queen, yada yada yada. Available on physical inspection, but
Me-
I can disguise us all as just regular guards.
Do they
Me
have to
or-
stay within 30 feet, or is it just for the start?
Me
I
and
mean,
Warden have invisibility.
I think it would only be within 30 feet.
Yeah, then me
Because
and Warden
I
have
don't
invisibility
understand-
potions.
It doesn't say anything
We can
about
just use
dropping
the
wherever they
invisibility
leave 30
potion.
feet.
Well, we have to
But
Okay.
also keep in mind,
well, it's
through the barrier, don't we?
You-
Well, yeah, by going through the sewers.
I
so it
mean,
would be after we go into the sewers.
I would say counterpoint, because I'm going to be casting seeming anyway, I think it'd be better for you guys to not immediately drink the invisibility potions and just save them for whenever you eat.
Okay. Is it within a range?
Well, it needs to be within a range when I cast it. Whenever you leave, at least as
That's
far as I
when you go to
understand
the alarm.
the rules text
Or
of the
my-
spell, you're good.
Okay. Then if that's
By
the case,
alarm,
then
you go to the gym.
We'll get your fat ass up and go.
No, not for today.
Oh, shame.
I'm not doing today. I'm too
Okay.
sick.
Then okay. Then yeah, I guess we
So
can do that.
we
instead.
can discuss this out throughout the next week.
Yeah. Essentially, what I want next week to be is we are going to jump to the war camp the day before the assault. Is what we're doing.
So, I guess 2 more things. One, how much explosives could I get?
How much explosives?
Because I know I have a bag of holding, and then I also have my special little thing.
Well, sadly, the primary location for explosives is the Avarian Confederacy. They not only have the most gunpowder and scientific situations, but they also have potato mashers. But you could get some. What exactly were you trying to do? Once I know that, I can tell you if you'd be able to get enough for it.
I could help you get there.
I was gonna say, I know explosives, they're just generally handy for a lot of things. I was thinking, like, not necessarily stuff I would use in combat, but more so, I need to either A, create a distraction, or B, I want to, blow a hole in this wall real quick. Ideally something I could just, dump out of a bag of holding, strike a match and just run away.
I'd say you could get 4 of those that will cause a fairly large distraction. That would all fit in one bag of holding.
Okay. How damaging would they be against the walls?
They, I'll say, would be able to blow through a foot of concrete, which is pretty good for explosives. Not phenomenal, but
If we're on the inside, we can go Since you specified they can shoot out, that means that they can also cast spells out through it,
Yeah.
right? So if we're on the inside and we hit the wall with dispel magic or something to morph the wall or anything like that, it would take effect because it's from this side versus this side, right?
You can focus it on the wall, but it would only take a section of the wall.
Right, but you said it's a 10-foot thick
Yeah.
wall, shape mold earth or shape stone or something like that. We could do something like that.
Yeah.
And
And
bypass
that's the
gate.
druids will likely, as soon as the wall is down, like that whole wall is going to just be gone. Like it's a mile long, close to a mile long, but when you got 500 people who can cast a 10 by 10 square, that's almost a mile of footage. So you're gonna have a whole bunch of holes
So-
in one of the walls.
It sounds like. Yeah, never mind. That's for
I
planning.
will try and type up and have like a full out assault plan given to you guys that's vetted by like Marquet, Jack, them all getting together, where all the pieces are, and you guys need to let me know what NPCs you want to take with you, and then I will either thumbs up or thumbs down. They're too vital to the assault from the outside.
So, I guess one thing we might want to try and do before we leave is at least get a working plan of who's going to split up and do what strike teams. You know, this isn't necessarily setting it in stone, might be mellow in the future, but at least get some idea.
Me and Warden are going to the gate. It's going to be based off of the third one, or how many other people we get.
If you split evenly, you could have 4 at each group.
Well,
Which honestly, you will have to deal with guards at everyone, so there will be a fight.
I know. I'm mainly meaning, is it going to be as clean as that? Because we need 2 other people to go find the bitch, and also the leader, and
Well,
kill
you have
them.
12 people and 3 objectives.
No, I didn't think about 12. Okay, I was thinking 8.
Yeah. So you have 12 people and 3 objectives, 4 of which will be NPCs, 8 will be players. Jade will not be here next week.
Damn.
I'm hoping that we can get some of the objectives done, if not most. As I said in that text chat, I'm going to start at 5:30 and try and end at 8:30 for the next 3 sessions. Hopefully we'll be able to at least 99 get done. And honestly, that last session, if we're able to, we may have to go. If it takes us an extra hour, and I know it's only going to be an extra hour, I'll ask you guys to do that. If you can't, that sucks, but we're trying to finish it that day. Yeah, we are finishing on the 9th unless y'all have just slogged through what's going on, or I kill all of you.
Yeah.
Which is always possible. There's going to be a lot of disintegration.
I will abandon.
I'm just messing around.
So basically, the last. How many sessions we have?
We have 3 more sessions.
The last 3 sessions is the siege of this tower.
Is the siege of Compound Peak 0.
And the slight evacuation of everyone else if we
Alright.
don't die.
So we
And
have
I will do some form of epilogue-like session, whether it's online or in person, at a later date.
Nibs
So-
is going to go with Nari. Or escort /party.
Okay. So wherever Nari goes, Nibs goes.
Yep.
Okay. And we know Mike's going to assassinate. It honestly would probably behoove
so Nibs and Nari are going where?
Nibs and Nari. Well, Nibs is going wherever Nari is. Nari has not yet decided where she's going.
Nari is going to kill a bitch.
Yeah.
Nari will likely go and kill a bitch because that's what she's best at.
Yeah.
Same with Mike.
So we have Nibs, Nari, and Mike going on assassination.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good group to do it.
And
I would
plus
join-
1. They get 1 more.
Yeah.
So
I'm just counting player characters.
So now it's based off of if we get a.
Two big boys are gonna go cause
So-
some
Well,
gross-
we need 2
We
other.
need so
It's
here's,
going to be based off. Who
here's your question, guys. We need a magic person, one of you 2 guys, to go for the actual deactivate the
I
generator.
go for that.
yeah, the central
Because
generator.
he'll be at the main gate.
But this is the thing: your pure magic, your tech and magic. You should go for the generator
Well,
instead of
he's also needed at the gate, is he not?
Is he
he's
needed at the game?
strong,
But I
He
have
would
I have
help.
a strength of giant strength.
Yeah,
He's gonna have the potion of giant strength on him.
And then I would say, don't you have the
He has this-
immovable spell? So that
Yes.
so I think
That's-
it would make sense for you two to swap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is, I know you
Oh,
have the
hey,
strength,
back
but
to
you
back
have the
with
tech and
Okay.
the magic, and he only has magic.
So you can obviously still go with him if you want.
You can all
However,
3 go.
Yeah.
that means, well, first of all, Trake's not going to be here next session, which means likely I am running on its own the whole crew going to the other location. Maybe
All the
minus one.
druids and Trake go.
Yeah, like Trake plus.
Wait, what's the
some
other
other-
location?
The other location is the centralized, like, offensive system on the wall.
We have to take out the power grid to drop the shield. That's what someone magically has to take that out.
Yeah. So the
So I'm
shield
going
is in the
to-
middle. The offensive, like the aggressive defenses that power all of the siege engines, are at the main gate.
Isn't that where they're going? Is the main gate?
That's where they're going. But who's going for the shield?
I thought that's what.
I think that's what he
That's
was
what
going
they
for.
just
He was
said.
gonna
Is
go for
I'm
the
going.
mechanism.
I'm
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
for the
okay.
Yeah,
tech
if you-
device.
if
Well, I was saying if you wanted
Yeah,
to
done
go
the tech
to the
device.
gate, you can. But then you have to decide, well, who's going for the shield?
Yeah, that's what they're saying is send
You should
Warden
go
to
for the
the
shield.
So
Yeah, you are
because
right.
I can understand.
So
I can-
remind me of your character's names again. I believe it was Atan and
Gorsh.
Okay, so we have
Atan and Gorsh.
Atan and Gorsh going for the gate. Gibbs, Nari, and
Plus
Mike,
two.
or Nibs, Nari, and Mike going
So
to assassination.
only
I'm only
fair
counting
one.
2 characters. And then it's going to
I got
be
a few more
probably
things to
Warden
find
and
to my
myself
character.
going to the magic
Okay,
generator.
so let me know when
I can
that's
do
done,
some
and then
dispelling,
we
if
can
not as
decide the
good.
two that we want to
And
think about.
You can
I don't
protect
really
him
know
while
yet.
he's doing
And
it.
also, seeming for Warden would be Pog, because he can't really do stuff.
Yeah. What?
Remember the shooter?
I was saying, if you're going to the center of the compound as a non-stealthy character, you gotta have a high charisma character with illusion magic to talk your way there. So-
yeah, because we like
You two are going there, and then you guys, well, where's Shayla going?
Molly with me.
Yeah, well, Shayla's going with you.
So that
she's
makes
our
more
hand.
form.
Yeah,
she's
that's
our
fair. And then you gotta figure out the other
That is
3
Trump
going to the other locations.
Do you guys need a DPS?
Trake's gonna go to the center generator as well with Warden and Robin.
Okay.
Shayla's going on assassination, so that fills the assassination crew.
You
Where are you
guys, you need another DPS to go with you. Who?
Which NPC would you guys like that to be?
Like who would you two want as an NPC?
Hey, we call
Bard
the dwarf with the gun.
Marquet?
You guys could bring
Mark-
Editaric in.
He was saying Marquet.
I
would
did-
be
I
better.
did-
Marquet's not. Marquet is the commander of the assault.
Okay.
He is an absolute no-no of bringing
Yeah, I was gonna
inside.
say he's probably military man. We got a full squad, Nate. We don't have to worry about
wait,
this.
who's
All right, we're good.
Editaric?
I'm going home.
What'd you say?
And
I
it's
gotta
already-
get
that's
some
the dwarf.
Editaric is the gunslinger dwarf that is actually the one who killed Santara.
Oh man, that's what we wanted in our squad.
Well,
Yeah.
But if he's better
not
fit-
very strong though.
What about that
need
Azimar
strength, we
boy?
need
And he's
strength.
also very, very loud.
What
So
about that
it's better for
Azimar?
him to. The Azimar, Bram. Bram is good, but I wouldn't call him the best person to bring in. Bram's not the best fighter. He's good, but he's not phenomenal. Editaric would definitely be better combat-wise than him.
all right.
So
Slide out
Editari
first.
should be going with say generator.
Logan.
Probably with gate crew,
With gate
because
crew.
he's gonna cause fucking havoc.
Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, that's what I was. I'm like,
And
make
that
sure like.
means- That means we'll have.
I mean, I suppose it's something I can.
Because that'd be me,
I just
Gorsh,
wanted
and
to
Editari.
ask you
Yeah.
something.
And
You,
then
Gorsh, Editaric, and then you guys need one
I'm
more.
trying to figure out who would be good.
You guys, well, if you're looking for more strength, you could ask for one
GG,
of the strong
homies.
backs to go with you. CNA. You could ask for. You could ask for the Furbolg. What is his name? It starts with like an N.
Is the central control system
Yes.
thingy that we're going to be going and destroying,
Yes.
does that also control the callers?
No.
No,
That's in the tower. You guys,
We have to take over the facility.
you gotta
to get
take
to
over the
tower.
facility to get into the tower,
Yeah.
effectively.
Ah.
Okay, what is this dude's
The
name?
Furbolg probably be smart.
He's a druid.
That would be good still,
Yeah.
because that at least gives us somewhat a diverse group of people going for the gate. That's at least 2 people with some type of magic. Me being pure strength, and then we got a shooter. Woot. That's
Okay,
right.
yeah, I'm gonna turn off the
Music.
recording.